Alright, ladies and gentlemen, time to get started with what we always do every single month. Time for another One Piece Reflections. We got 3 chapters in the month of August, and all of them were good. Now, mind you, one of these chapters pretty much put a lot of people on the fence due to what it revealed. So some people may not like some of these chapters that we got in August, but me personally, I enjoyed them. So real quick, let me just go ahead and tag people in this so that I can talk about One Piece. Okay, alright, okay, we're good now, we're good. Now let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yes, there we go. Alright, yo peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece Reflections. Today we are going to be going through the chapters that we got for the month of August. So, well, actually, you know what? I had the playback audio coming through. I need to mute that. My apologies. But we got 3 chapters in the month of August. All of them I enjoyed. Personally, I enjoyed them. But there were some things that happened in the chapters that not everyone was a massive fan of. But in these chapters of August, we finally saw the end of the Wano country storyline. We saw it end. We saw on chapter 1057, we finally saw Wano end. And then the chapter proceeding after that saw us prepare to go to the next big adventure. So let's go ahead and get started with this. Let's go ahead and get started with the first chapter we got on August 7th, titled Cross Guild. And it saved my place from the last time I read through Cross Guild. Oh, no, it didn't. I just had to... I don't know. Why did it go through the chapters like that? But it's chapter 1056, Cross Guild. Good to see you, Ogata-san. Good to see you, Psycho. Long time no see. You were just here! You were just here! But in chapter... Let's go... Oh, man. In chapter 1056, it showed that there was still a party going on. People were still recovering, specifically the Akazaya 9. They were all still recovering, with Shinobu and Raizo having been skewered a little bit by Ryokugyu's devil fruit power. They were drained, and it shows Shinobu and Raizo being tended to. And all this is happening, and Kinemon says, like, I'm sorry for all of this happening while I was away in Kuri, because he was with Marco all the way back in the graves with everyone else. And now, he's just now getting back to the Flower Capital while all that fighting with Ryokugyu was going on. And then he's talking about Okobori Town burned to the ground, and Sudu has a terrible burn on her face, but she is alive and well. And then it cuts to Otsuru talking to one of the ladies there of Okobori Town. And then Kinemon is happy to have seen Sudu after 20 years. She's still just as beautiful. It's a wholesome moment, him being able to see his wife again. And then Kinemon is, gushing over seeing her all this time. And Inuarashi is all like, hey, dogs like cheese, but not that much cheese. We've never given our dog cheese. I don't know if it would agree with him. So I guess Inuarashi's kind of built different. And then Raizo was saying, like, I wish I had a girl. And he's all like, focus on your recovery. And then we find out in this chapter that with Carrot just stuffing her face with all sorts of foods from the Flower Capital, she gets called in to meet with Nekomamushi and Inuarashi, where they make her the king of the Mokumo Dukedom. And basically, in this singular chapter, Oda pretty much made it so that Carrot does not become a member of the Straw Hat Pirates. because she's now been thrusted into this brand new responsibility that requires her to rule over Zoe. So anyone who is hashtag care for Straw Hats or anything like that, I was not part of that group. I was just like, whoever joins. But to everyone who expected Carrot, or at least hope Oda would push in the direction of having Carrot become a new crew member of the Straw Hat crew, completely destroyed in this one chapter. Because she comes in saying, hey, what's up? You call me Duke and Orochi and Nekomamushi. And then they say, you will be the new king of Mokomo Dukedom. You king? Yay, sure thing. Wait, king? No way, I can't do that. And then the reason they give is, the truth is, Kat and I have decided to stay here in Wano and serve Lord Momonosuke as samurai of the Kozuki clan. You are one of the few who have been out to see the world thanks to Luffy. That means you must have some of what we'll need in the next era. So due to her experience of traveling with Luffy and the others, they see it as she has far more experience out in the world versus Nekomamushi and Orochi, since they spent so much of their time away from Wano. Like, after the events of Wano and Odin, they kind of went to Zoe and left, but they never spent time with, the Kozuki clan as much as they wanted to. So now they're trying to make up for it. But they also see that Carrot is more experienced being out there on the world than any other mink. So she's the one most geared towards being able to rule over Zoe and also update everyone on the world outside. Because she's been to Whole Cake Island, and she's been to Wano, and she's seen the world more than any other mink has. So they're kind of, she's like the bridge between the outside world and them. And then Carrot says, but there are so many people who are way stronger than me. And then Shishilian comes in saying, of course there are, and our job is to protect the country. And then Wanda comes in saying, I'll help you too. This was the two kings' reason, Carrot, but most importantly of all, your heart carries Pedro's will in it. And of course, with that sort of determination behind her, she ought to be just fine. And then, to sum it up, we're leaving Zoe to you young folks. And then it shows Zoe just walking by itself, surrounded in mist. And then it cuts to Sukiyaki revealing himself to be the grandfather of both Hiyori and Momonosuke. But he's surprised to find that they embrace him and they're hugging him. Because he was expecting them to be, kind of cross with him for not revealing himself all of these years. And is the light really that changing outside? Good Lord. He didn't expect them to embrace him after all of these years. And then he says, I'm sorry, children, I'm sorry, thank you. You truly do look just like Oden, Momonosuke, only without the flat top on top. And then it cuts to Momonosuke saying, Grandfather, we've lost our parents. Just knowing that another relative is still alive is such a relief. And then Hiyori says, I feel the same way. Please don't apologize. And then it cuts to Sukiyaki, who's looking at the rest of the 9 scabbards, including Kinemon, going, I suppose you were all aware then. And everyone was aware that Sukiyaki was Tenguyama this whole time. Except for Kinemon. He's seen as the leader of the Akazaya 9, but he's the most oblivious to the obvious. And he was thinking, he was Lord Sukiyaki this whole time? I had no idea. I thought my heart was going to leap out of my chest. At least he's alive, though. That part's good. And then he also says, I have things that I can teach you, but that is all I'm good for anymore. After that, please let me resume my seclusion from the public. This era is yours to build. Now, when he says, I have things I can teach you, it cuts to me thinking about how Odin never really got a chance to teach Momonosuke about how to create poneglyphs when he was a kid. I don't think he ever got a chance to teach him how to make them and how to inscribe onto these near indestructible objects due to it being passed down to the Kozuki clan. Because Odin knows how to do this because he was able to do it on the Golden Bell up in Skypiea. He was able to do that beforehand and even leave a message for, well, I wouldn't say he left a message called Sorry Joy Boy. I think he actually did. I think he did. is kind of scarce. I'm sorry. I'm not remembering everything correctly. But the fact that Odin was able to make poneglyphs but never teach Momonosuke, now Sukiyaki can teach Momonosuke how to do that. So in line with teaching the Akazaya 9 a whole bunch of other stuff, he can also teach them how to teach Momonosuke the secret art of making poneglyphs. And then it cuts to the Straw Hats talking, and then Frankie is surprised to find out that Pluton is in Wano. And Robin says, yes, I wasn't able to see it for myself, but it is here. Can't believe that thing actually exists. The one Frankie burned the plans for. And the fact that Luffy was, out of all the things that Luffy would remember years ago, this man is horrible with names, but he still remembers Frankie burning the plans to Pluton way back in Eni's lobby. So this dude has selective memory loss. Even when it has nothing to do with him, he has selective memory loss. So when he's forgetting stuff, he's forgetting it on purpose. Yo, D-Train, good to see you. We're going over the first chapter of August this far, and I'm just going over the Straw Hats talking about how Pluton is in Wano, and how Luffy strangely is able to remember Frankie burning those plans years ago, but can't remember people's regular names now. All the way in Eni's lobby. And then Robin says, that's right, the ancient weapon Pluton, which bears the name of a god. Do you want it, Luffy? And then I think I incorrectly had the speech bubble towards Frankie instead of Robin, because Robin was the one who said this when I did my reaction. But I did it in Frankie's voice thinking he said it, but it wasn't. But Luffy says that he's not interested in Pluton. He's not interested in Pluton at all. And then she says, that's what I figure, but it makes me wonder, why did Odin want to unleash such a thing? And then it cuts to Shinobu, who walks in, and she has regained her slim figure. So all the moisture that Ryokugyu absorbed out of her has turned her slim again. She got the slip fruit treatment. And this absolutely surprises Sanji. Like, even in the top panel here, you can see the heart coming out of his eye. And Tama has become a new apprentice to Shinobu in order for her to become a ninja, which she promised she would do for Ace. And then, as that's going on, they're talking, let's see, I'm going to be real tough by the next time you see me, then you can let me join your crew. Sure, if you can use ninjutsu by then. And this is Luffy just like, sure, if you can use ninjutsu by the time we come back around, then you can join the crew. I don't know if he's saying that officially or if he's just nonchalantly saying that. And Caribou's in the background just chilling because he heard the whole conversation about Pluton. He heard the whole conversation saying, I don't believe it. Pluton's in Wano. First Poseidon, now this. I gotta let a certain somebody know about this. Then days pass. And Momonosuke is just chilling by himself with one of his people there telling him all the stuff that needs to be done for reconstruction plans because of the destruction that happened with Wano and everything preceding it. He starts walking through the halls, and he tries to find Zoro, but he's not there. Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Chopper, Sanji, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei. Now, one of the things that people pointed out to me after I did this live reaction was the fact that all the people that Momonosuke called in order was in the exact order they all joined the Straw Hat crew. Luffy, then Zoro, then Nami, then Usopp, then Sanji, Chopper, then Robin, obviously Frankie afterwards, then Brook, and then lastly Jinbei. And then even looks for Yamato, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And he goes through the entire castle trying to find everyone, and they're nowhere to be seen. He tries to find Hiyori, who's there with Toko, and she's just playing on her shamisen, saying they already left. They said their goodbyes to everyone this morning. And then Momonosuke and Kinemon get upset because they're just now learning that everyone is left, but everyone else knows. And we're here at Tokage Port, where everyone is trying to figure out which direction to go in. So Kid picks the middle one east, Luffy picks the middle one east, and then Law picks his choice, which is northeast. And he says going northeast means I move the farthest ahead. And this both kind of annoys Luffy and Kid because they, they're not the analytical types. Luffy and Kid have never been the analytical types of individuals. So Law is the only calm-headed person that can actually plan this far ahead, while Luffy and Kid are just all like, we're gonna go this way because it'll put us close. But it's the wrong way that they're supposed to be going. But they says, no, I lost at straws. I'm sorry, everyone. And then Usopp says, every direction is dangerous. It doesn't matter. Just help us load up, Luffy. And then Luffy is just lording it over Kid, saying, darn, I lost even though I'm an Emperor of the Sea. You're going to rub that in my face, huh? But when it comes to the Emperors, the one who really makes me mad is him. The genius gesture Buggy. And this is when we get revealed that Buggy has come up with something called the Cross Guild. Now, I say come up with in very large air quotes because we find out in the last chapter we got in this month. And in this poster with Buggy and Buggy is Mihawk and Crocodile, and that baffles everyone. It's Crocodiles and Hawkeye. What? And that gets Zoro's attention. Why are they shown like they're Buggy's followers? That's not possible, not for Hawkeyes. We find out that this is in fact true, that it's not possible for Mihawk to be serving under anyone. Well, if he's got two men of their stature working for him, he deserves to be called an emperor. We find out why Buggy gets recognized as a Yonko by the world government, and why his name is put out there as a Yonko for the entire world to see, due to the things that happened preceding the Cross Guild being revealed. So we'll get to it as soon as I get through the rest of these chapters. He's an idiot, right? How did that happen? Even Luffy, who is about as smart as Goku, he's slightly smarter than Goku, but the fact that he's able to call someone else an idiot and it makes sense, kind of scary when you think about it. Seems like this Cross Guild company he leads has started putting bounties on the Navy, and we don't find the connections between the Cross Guild and the whole Navy hunting aspect until we find out a little bit more about Mihawk's past and the title he used to have before becoming known as the world's greatest swordsman. The Navy's been used to doing all the chasing, but these days they have to fear assassination from civilians. While we were stuck here in this closed nation, the world around us has changed quite a bit. No complaints about our respective courses. Once we set foot outside of Wano, we're in a fight to the death like all the others. And then someone tosses some paper forward, and it's Law who tosses a copy of the road poneglyph, saying that only a trifling man would sneak out to a head start. And then Killer is surprised to know that Kaido had one of them, the same thing we took off of Big Mom's general. We're going to have to put all of our strength into this task if we want to take part in the all-out war of the One Piece. What, you mean finding the man with the burn scar? That's not enough to go on. Now, originally, I kind of thought that Luffy's not one to talk, but he has the strength to back it up. That's the thing. He's an idiot, but he's a strong idiot. And those are the ones you really got to watch out for. Because strong idiots tend to be predictable. I mean, unpredictable. Not predictable, but unpredictable. Strong idiots tend to be unpredictable. Yeah. So originally, when Kid brought up, what, you mean finding the man with the burn scar? Two names popped up. And I was thinking, there's two people I know with a burn scar. I thought Sabo, but he couldn't be talking about Sabo. And then someone brought up Aokiji. And I thought, he's got a burn scar on his body. Or it could be some brand new person that we haven't seen that also has like a burn scar on them. So if it's not Sabo and Kuzan, then who's this person then? And why would finding the man with the burn scar be important to Kid and Killer? Kind of makes you think a little bit. And then Luffy goes, burn scar? What do you mean? And the thing is, Law doesn't say anything. I'm guessing Robin knows. And Kid already knows. You don't know? Sounds like we've got the advantage. And that's the thing. Both Law and Robin may know. I know Law knows because he doesn't say anything. His eyes are shadowed over and he has his hat down. But Robin has like a question mark speech bubble out of her, but I have a feeling she knows. And Kid obviously knows, but Luffy has no idea. Then it cuts to the Flower Capital as Momonosuke is trying to find where Yamato is. And Yamato's on the roof going, well, I've made up my mind. Guess I'll go to Luffy and his crew. I'm going to live the way Kozuki Oden did. And that's the end of chapter 156. So if we go through the notes here, it's quite a few notes. Yeah, there's quite a few notes. The notes are, the Scabbards returned to the Flower Capital's castle. Kinemon was at Kuri with Tsurujo during the fight against Ryokugyu. Raizo and Shinobu are being treated by Miyagi after the former's bodies have shriveled. It is revealed by Kinemon that Tsurujo has a burn mark on the left side of her face after the incident in Okobore Town. And Tsurujo is also planning to move back to the Flower Capital to be with her husband. Inuarashi and Nekomamushi appoint Carrot to be the new leader of the Mokomo Dukedom, as they intend to stay in Wano with Momonosuke. Sukiyaki reveals his true identity to his grandchildren and reunites with Momonosuke and Hiyori. The Scabbard sans Kinemon had already figured out his identity beforehand. Sukiyaki states his intention to pass down his knowledge to Momonosuke before returning to seclusion, which means he will be teaching Momonosuke the secrets of how to create poneglyphs. So that knowledge, which we may have thought would have been lost on Momonosuke because Oden never taught it to him, will be able to actually get to Momonosuke through Oden's father, which is still good. Keep it in the bloodline. Frankie and the rest of the Straw Hats learn from Robin that Pluton does exist, and it is in Wano. Caribou eavesdrops on the discussion and states that he must alert a certain someone about Pluton and Poseidon. Shinobu enters the room and it is shown that she has returned to her younger appearance, and Tama has become Shinobu's apprentice in ninjutsu. And Luffy promises Tama that she can join his crew when she masters ninjutsu, which is pretty much the same promise that Ace made to her many years prior. The Straw Hat, Heart, and Kid Pirates prepare to leave Wano on different routes. The Heart Pirates are going northeast, the Kid Pirates are going east, and the Straw Hats are going southeast. I thought they were just going east like Kid, but no, they're going southeast. Okay. The Straw Hats and Heart Pirates are no longer in an alliance, having achieved their original goal of defeating Kaido. So with chapter 1056, the alliance has officially ended. Law gives the Kid Pirates a rubbing of Wano's road poneglyph. Kid and Killer mention a man with a burn scar that could be key to the war for the One Piece. That's interesting. Raizo drained body reminds you of King Ramses from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yo, Ryan, good to see you as well. Return the slab. Oh, suffer my gas. He does look kind of shriveled up. The Kid Pirates had stolen a rubbing of Big Mom's rope poneglyph from one of her sweet commanders beforehand. Buggy has joined forces with Dracul, Mihawk, and Crocodile in a group called Cross Guild. The Cross Guild is capable of issuing bounties on Marines, which are already causing several Marines to be pursued and attacked by bounty hunters. Kinemon and Momonosuke were not alerted about the Straw Hats leaving beforehand for some reason. Yamato is still in the Flower Capital, and he decides to go after Luffy and his crew because, you know, they're still calling Yamato he because of Yamato's massive obsession with Oden. And that's pretty much all the stuff that has happened in this chapter. That's happened in the chapter of 1056. So let's move on to 1057, shall we? Because that's when things start to get real good. And let me go 1057. So in 1057, we have a narrator preparing to tell the tale of how Luffy and the rest of his crew in the Akazaya 9 pretty much brought back Wano back to where it is. As you say, you can't stay, so unfortunately, it's all Ryan, you're fine. Don't even worry about it. So we have a narrator in a theater giving us the events of what happened when the Akazaya 9 came back to Wano in order to take revenge on Odin and get rid of both Orochi and Kaido at the same time with the help of the Straw Hats. We cut to the woods to Tokage Port in Udon, where Momonosuke has assumed his dragon form with Yamato and Kinemon on his back as they're making their way towards Luffy. And it's in this same chapter that Yamato says that they're not going with Luffy and the crew. So we got one chapter beforehand that pretty much squashed any #carrots for Straw Hat crew theories or hopes and dreams completely. And now in the next chapter after that, any hopes of #Yamato for the Straw Hat crew or ever joining the crew has become squashed completely. So that's two things that people were really hoping for over the course of all these issues that these characters have been with the Straw Hats, that they basically just said like, nah, they ain't going. Oda basically just said like, sounds nice. Even some of these chapters may even make it seem like they're going with the Straw Hat crew, but no. I say thee nay. Oda's always good at trolling people, even if it's for like several chapters at a time. He pretty much just said like they're not going with the Straw Hats. They're going to be here. Carrot's going to go to Zou, and Yamato is going to stay here in Wano and try to live the way that Odin lived his life. Because Kinemon says, you're truly staying here, Yamato? Is that a bad thing? No, it'd be wonderful, but you said you had made up your mind earlier, so I assumed... well, Odin started his travels by walking about the country, didn't he? I know so little about the world, just like him, so I'll follow the same path and eventually it'll take me out to sea. My word, and you already cleared this up with Luffy and his crew? And then Momonosuke says, but that just makes it worse. Why would they humiliate me so? Why would they leave without a word to me? And then he thinks about when Kaido was holding him off of the roof of a building. And then the first time he spoke to Luffy and introduced himself and all the things that happened between both himself and Luffy and all the times he's badmouthed Momonosuke and trying to make Momonosuke, man up. And all the times that Momonosuke failed, but also gathered his resolve saying, I want to defeat Kaido. And all the moments where he could proclaim his name when Kaido was preparing to execute him saying, Kozuki Momonosuke. My name is Kozuki Momonosuke, the man who will become Shogun of Wano. Then that one moment where he was in front of Luffy saying, like, then go, you can fly, after he grew up into an adult. It's just like a rapid flashback reel of all the times he's had, like, serious conversations with Momonosuke. And he says, don't worry about Kaido, I guarantee you I'll win. And Momonosuke saying, we may not have been the best of friends, but after that long journey, do I really mean nothing to him? You're a cold man, Luffy. I thought you were better than this. Don't mistake rudeness for independence. Am I wrong, Kinemon? You're exactly right, Lord Momonosuke, but why aren't we flying? Now, mind you, Momonosuke, it made it seem like Momonosuke was flying through the forest, but no, he's on the ground because he's, still, I'm guessing he's afraid of heights. Kinemon says, you are now the true Shogun of Wano, Lord Momonosuke. If Luffy does not watch his words, I may have no choice but to cut him down. Yes, the way of the warrior demands it. I thought you said we were friends, Luffy. And Yamato's like, you don't have to be that mad about it. And everyone else, like Momonosuke and Kinemon, are freaking out over this, while Yamato is like, it's really not that serious. You're kind of going overboard. Then we cut to Tokage Port with Law saying, if we ever run into each other again out there, we're total enemies. If people die, so be it. And then Luffy's just nonchalantly saying, yeah, totally. Chopper says, see you later, Traffy. And Law just says, shut up. And then Kid says, come on, let's ship out. And then, as it shows the Straw Hat crew on the ship, with Luffy still standing out on the shore, Momonosuke comes barreling out of the forest with Yamato just casually saying, hey guys, we came to see you off. And then Momonosuke basically transforms into his human form and then tackles Luffy. Now, mind you, Yamato and Kinemon are still on top of Momonosuke. So when he turns into his human form, they're left toppling on top of Luffy, along with Momonosuke toppling on top of him as well, as he goes, Luffy, what do you think you're doing? We've been with you longer than anyone, and you're going to leave without a word to us? The Shogun is furious with you. Explain yourself, you cretin. And then Luffy says, "You're here now, aren't you?" "Luffy, this is an order from the Shogun. Please don't leave me. I'll miss you so much." And he just starts bawling his eyes out. "Please stay with me forever. I don't want to say goodbye." And then Luffy's all like, "Stop. It was because of all of you that I survived. It was because of all of you that I was able to laugh and smile. You avenged my father and my mother. I cannot thank you enough. I'm too stupid. I don't have the words to express my feelings, but I'm scared of what's ahead. I'm scared of what's ahead. Please don't go." And then Momonosuke is doing all of this, and he's blubbering, and he's crying. And he's trying to, and then he says, "Momo can't help it, he's still a boy," and then Zoro just goes, "This is pathetic, man." And then Luffy says, "Usopp, I got it right here," and he throws something on Momonosuke, and it turns out to be just a massive flag. And this is when Luffy says, "You're an idiot and a coward and a weakling, but I think of you like a little brother," echoing back to when Whitebeard called Odin his brother because of their bond, but also echoing how it has to be an excessively strong bond between someone like Luffy and Ace and Sabo for Luffy to call someone his brother. But it also echoes how Odin became like a little brother to Whitebeard. Now, mind you, the family dynamic of Whitebeard is that everyone who joins under his name, he sees as sons and daughters. He's never seen anyone as someone he regards as on his level, like brotherly, ever. Not even Marco, who is his second in command. But when Odin came along, and his bond with Odin grew, he's the only person to ever have the role of being like a brother to Whitebeard. Not like a son or daughter, but an actual brother. So now we have the same type moment, the same type bond pirate to a person from Wano moment happening between Luffy and Momonosuke. So 20 years later, the same thing is happening between Momonosuke and Luffy as it did with Whitebeard and Odin. So it's like a callback. It's like a massive callback to just like how things were 20 years ago. So it's a nice touch that what happened for the father is kind of happening for the son as well, as far as good fortune is concerned. So not only did Odin make a massive ally in Whitebeard, but now Momonosuke is making a massive ally in Luffy. And he says, "It's a flag. When times are hard, just remember our adventures at sea. Fly this flag over Wano. If anyone shows up causing trouble, let them see it. They'll know that if anyone messes with my crew, they're picking a fight with us." So just like Ryugu Kingdom has become Luffy's territory, because he never exactly stated that Dressrosa was going to become his territory. It's just like this is the third kingdom that Luffy has rescued from the tyranny of another. But this is the second place that Luffy has claimed as his territory under his name. And now that he's a Yonko, that claim is even stronger now. So now he has Ryugu Kingdom under his banner as a Yonko, and now he has the entire shrouded in secrecy, secluded, walled-in country of Wano. He has that under his banner now as well. And then everyone is laughing, and then Luffy says, "If you ever want to be pirates, just say the word and we'll come right back and pick you up." And Yamato's all like, "Yes! Watch out for him, Yamato." "I will!" And then set sail. Keep it together, Shogun. You can do it, Momonosuke. And then Momonosuke goes, "Kinemon, yes, someday in the future I will surpass Kozuki Odin, and I will be there to witness it." "Me?" And then everyone's all like, "No, not you, my actual dad. Not you, you imposter, you obsessed imposter." And then it cuts to Nami given navigations as they all officially set sail. And when she says that it's safe to go down the Hakumai where the formal port is, so they can take the lift safely down, Kid kind of clowns them all, saying like, "Oh, you're going for the proper port, huh? Good idea. It's so safe and secure." And he just and he starts laughing at them, saying, "Just right for a couple of losers." And seeing their pride being made fun of, this irritates both Luffy and Law as they make their ships go straight ahead. And everyone is all like, Luffy, hello? Don't listen to him. Safe is good. Hey, Captain, what's with that look in your eye? Let's just take the regular port. This is the crews of the Heart Pirates and the Straw Hat Pirates trying to give reason to their captains to not go off of the falls. With Luffy going, "Give me the wheel, Jinbei." Luffy, no! And then it just shows all three of their ships going completely off the falls, with the narration going, "But the charismatic Lord Momonosuke and Kinemon reunited mighty brigands to fight at their side. They led a tremendous charge and battled like true guardian deities. Neither Kaido the Dragon King nor the great ghastly Oiron could compete. Their death screams split the sky," as it shows all three captains falling off the falls, screaming, or at least, yeah, they're screaming, but, you know, they don't want to give way to the fact that they just made themselves go off the falls. Meanwhile, Orochi, who thought burned to death, lived on through sheer malevolence to attack Princess Yori. But lo, Slice, who could come to cut the beast in twain. But the second of Kozuki Oden's faithful followers, Denjiro, and just like the black coal of his family name, the final head of Kurozumi Orochi burned to a crisp. With a great bellow of thunder, Onigashima and Kaido the Dragon King plummeted to the earth. At last, the storm clouds that covered Wano for over 20 years began to clear away. But then, with the chance of festivities of the flower capital in the background, hard as it may be to believe, there stood Orochi, burning and baleful, and he said, "The wrath of the Kurozumi clan will curse this country until its last generation." But the fair princess had witnessed 20 years of Wano's suffering. Her gaze was unwavering. "Be careful, princess," said Denjiro, but she pushed the samurai's arm aside, and then our princess stood her ground and delivered her verdict upon the burning Orochi. In her hand, the fan bearing the Kozuki seal. On her lips, the memories of 20 years. Thinking of father, mother, brother, and country, she spoke. Here it comes. Say it with me, everyone. Kurozumi was born to burn. And then it shows a visage of Odin. It shows Orochi's head burning, and as she says this, she's crying her eyes out. Second hour of the bird, the fire festival. Waning crescent moons gather at the lonely port at night. A tale of wondrous valor and daring revenge. The hoped-for day come at last, for the great and noble clan stands tall once again. This has been the saga of mighty samurai, regaining their lost glory to shine as before. That's all the time we have today. While our ways might part for now, may our paths cross again someday, somewhere. And with that, the final act of Wano draws to a close, and Wano draws to a close. I was so glad to read through this chapter, to see Wano reach its end. It was just amazing reading through this chapter. Not just saying like Wano took forever, but Wano is longer than the Dressrosa arc. We spent 3.5 years in Wano. Such a long time. So many things were revealed during the entirety of the entire Wano storyline. We got the ultimate chapter. We learned about Conqueror's Haki emissions. We learned about Conqueror's Haki imbuements. We learned that Luffy has a devil fruit that is basically a power that the world government has been trying to get their hands on since its creation. The ability to fight with your very imagination. Then we saw the power of Kaido, when we saw the combined power of Big Mom. But we also saw their downfall as they were beaten by... Kaido himself was beaten in a one-on-one fight with Luffy, while Big Mom was beaten by a combined effort of Kid and Law. We saw the downfall of 2 full Yonko in this one entire arc. We saw the downfall of Orochi as he tried his best to ruin Wano, did not caring if the people lived or died. But we saw his Kurozumi line ended thanks to, first Kaido cutting his head off, then the Akazaya 9 cutting all the rest of his heads off. Then when he came back with one final head, Denjiro was the last one to deliver the final cut to his head, cutting off the Kurozumi line. And with that, the entire country of Wano is basically free from the tyranny of Kaido, Big Mom, and Orochi, and anyone who dare serve him have either died or now are either imprisoned or they've sworn their loyalty to Momonosuke and the Akazaya 9, and the Kozuki clan has resumed control of Wano. Thanks to Ryokugyu showing up, I don't think we need to worry about it being a barren wasteland anymore because we got introduced to Ryokugyu. He has a unique nature-based Logia power that has already pretty much replenished the barren wasteland of Wano all throughout Udon, because it's no longer just Udon anymore, it's the woods of Udon now. With his power, he was able to just fill up the entirety of Udon with nothing but foliage and trees and flowers and everything. Just for him merely walking in this country has replenished a great amount of greenery that Wano pretty much lost. Orochi died once every year for 3 years since 2020. Wow. So you mean to tell me that the first time he got beheaded was in 2020, then the second time he got beheaded was by the Akazaya 9, and that was in 2021, and then the last time he gets beheaded is in this year. Wow, this dude has died every year. Since the first time he got his head cut off, he's pretty much died every year after that. That's interesting. But let's go through the notes real quick. Okay, it is revealed that Yamato has decided not to go with the Straw Hat Pirates for the moment, decided to travel around Wano country like Oden did once before joining the crew, as Yamato still knows too little about the world. Momonosuke, Kinemon, and Yamato rush to catch up to the Straw Hats. When they arrive, Momonosuke tearfully talks to Luffy and thanks him for everything. Luffy gives Momonosuke his flag and promises to come to his aid if Wano is ever threatened. Luffy states to Yamato, Momonosuke, and Kinemon that they are welcome to join his crew in the future. The Straw Hats, Heart, and Kid Pirates leave Wano over the waterfall. At a theater in the Flower Capital, the school teacher gives a story about the fall of Orochi, Kaido, and Big Mom, and right here it says, it is confirmed that Orochi died during the battle. No more thinking like, well, there's nothing else, maybe there's a way that Orochi can come back. No, it is confirmed. Kurozumi Orochi is dead. With his last head being burned and his last body being burned, he's gone. No more Orochi. Gone. Matter of fact, let me pull this up right here. It officially lists him as deceased. That is his status right now. It lists his status as deceased. So right here, if we go right here, Kanjuro's Kazenbo, having been reduced to a wisp of its former self, arrived to announce it had failed in its task. This is Orochi's biography. Orochi ordered Kazenbo to burn Hiyori, but the Fire Ghost instead chose to embrace Orochi, setting him alight. Luffy and Kaido's battle shook all of Onigashima and dislodged the Sea Stone Nail from Orochi, which restored his ability to transform. Still on fire, Orochi tried to kill Hiyori in his final act to spite Oden. But Denjiro arrived and beheaded Orochi one last time. However, even when reduced to a burning head, Orochi's hate kept him alive. With his final breath, he announced to Hiyori that his family's grudge will haunt Wano forever. In response, Hiyori pointed her fan at him, which bears the Kozuki symbol, and launched a play on words with his name. Kurozumi was born to burn. Finally, Orochi succumbed to the fire and disappeared, causing his definitive death. Isn't it poetic that the very person that sentenced Oden to a death by burning died burning. It's poetic that the very same type of execution, death by overexposure to heat, is the cause of Orochi's death and overexposure to heat. That's justice. That's justice. Like Odin was meant to be boiled, and now Kurozumi was meant to burn. Like, he did it to himself. Orochi is so useless, my guy can't even fight. Exactly, he can't. He can't. He's like a person that over-relies on the devil fruit power, but does very, very little to enhance his own physical capabilities. Like Buggy. Buggy relies so much on his own devil fruit powers, but has never trained himself to actually become stronger. He's just relied on his underlings and just, sneak attacks with some elements of his devil fruit, but he's never tried to strengthen himself. Orochi's the same way. Live in a lap of luxury where you never want to have a want, where you never have a want for anything, which includes wanting to become stronger, which was his downfall. If he was smart, he would have trained himself and gotten stronger, and even learned the intricate parts of his own devil fruit power. Because I would imagine he doesn't even know the fullest extent of what he could do, because he was a Zoan, yet we never seen him in a hybrid form. He only ever resorted to using either his regular human form or his full-fledged Yamata no Orochi Zoan form. People who know how to use their powers would be able to access the middle hybrid form, but he never showed that at all. So it just shows you just how little Orochi had prepared. It shows you just how little Orochi decided to make himself stronger. He was only strong by association to other people and influence, but not actual strength. Especially when he got Kaido on his team, this dude just probably stopped anything that required a lot of effort. So it's no wonder the guy died so quickly, but it's poetic for him to die in a burning manner similar to the person he basically stole the country from. I don't pity him at all. This is the final chapter of both the third act as well as the Wano country arc and the saga in general. And that is the end of chapter 1057. Let's move on to chapters 1058, and then we can talk about where we think the story is going to go from here. So chapter 1058, New Emperors, still saves my place. It shows that people are getting beat up on the Straw Hat ship, as it shows Luffy is in a cage after being beat up by Nami, with the narration saying, the ships sail away from the land of Wano and onward in the direction the log post points. And it shows that Luffy's, well, like I said, been beaten up by Nami because they went over the falls. Endangering their lives, just like he did when he grabbed all of them and jumped off the back of Zoe, and they all thought that they were going to die just because Luffy wanted to jump down the fun way. So, same thing happened, except Nami is not letting him get away with it. Because if I remember correctly, she was just gasping and surprised that she managed to survive jumping off of Zoe with Luffy. But this time, she's had enough of him and his dangerous antics and just beats him up and puts him in a cage so he can't get out. Saying, you put all of our lives at risk with that stunt. You can't be this stupid. She's right, though. He's reckless. And that reckless is definitely going to get people killed if he's not thinking about it. You can have this desire to be the king of the pirates all you want. But if you're dumb and reckless, that can end your trip real quick. Matter of fact, a lot of the instances where he almost basically died was because he decided to be reckless. Just throw caution to the wind and then just go head first without any preparation whatsoever. That's how he pretty much wound up in near-death states throughout the entirety of the series. Taking on Crocodile, not realizing what type of power he has. Almost died of basically having every bit of moisture drained out of his body. Then you have him going up against Magellan, or Magellan, however you want to say his name. I don't know. Is it Magellan or is it Magellan? Is it Magellan? I don't know. when he went up against him, not learning that the poison was definitely doing a lot of damage to him, he still tried to fight him and wound up almost dying as a result. Then you have... What's the next moment? You have him overestimating and thinking that he can just beat Kaido just by, like, I'm strong, and if my will is strong enough, then I can beat Kaido. The first time he encountered him, almost got one shot. Then another moment when, even after learning how to use Conqueror's Haki in missions, well, before trying to fight Kaido a second time during Roof Piece, Kaido almost flat out killed him. Actually, you know what? No, that was later. That was later after he learned Conqueror's Haki submission, because after that he activated Gear 5. But Kaido pretty much almost killed Luffy. If it wasn't for the bowler hat guy, then Luffy might have been able to try and keep the fight going, but because of that, and because Luffy was just going head first into that, he pretty much kind of almost set himself up to failure. But Nami has a point. He can't be this reckless and stupid. And Jinbei's laughing off like, we're all fine now. It wasn't such a big fall. I mean, Jinbei, you're a fish man. Nothing is going to bother you if you fall into the ocean from that height. You're literally the toughest fish man in the entire series. It's not going to bother you, and you're not a devil fruit user, so you falling into the water is nothing but a casual thing for you. And he's just laughing it off, and then Nami's all like, don't coddle him! And then it has lightning come off of Nami, including some fire around her, but she doesn't have Haki, though. He's all like, was that Supreme King Haki? But it wasn't, wasn't the case, and it shows Chopper and Usopp hiding behind a table from Nami while Zoro's just fast asleep. And then Frankie goes, did you see how the Sunny handled that fall? All that weight in just one broken yard. Just one broken... falling from the entirety of Wano all the way down. You know from the anime, Doflamingo says Magellan, but tomato. Yeah, I understand. See, I go by the enunciation from the Japanese, from the subs. So in the English dub, it says, like, it's Magellan! And I remember hearing that during when the English dub was going through the Impel Down arc, when Funimation's English dub was going through the Impel Down arc, and I was thinking, they're like, I like Magellan. But that's why I say Magellan, because how it's enunciated and said in Japan. So that's how I go by it. But all that distance falling from the top of Wano all the way down to the sea below, and the Sunny only received one broken yard. That was it. Then a news crew flies up, and Robin pats it, and then we finally get the brand new bounties of all the Straw Hat members. Emperor of the Sea, Straw Hat Luffy. Leader of the 5,600-man Straw Hat fleet and his 9 senior officers. Notice that they don't call them commanders, but senior officers. Are wanted for the following bounties. We have Chopper, Ship Doctor, Chopper the Cotton Candy Lover. Pet. They still call Chopper a pet. And his bounty goes from being 100 berries to 1,000 berries, just getting a 900 berry increase. Then Navigator, Cat Burglar Nami, goes to a bounty of 366 million berries. And she's wondering if she can collect her own bounty. I don't think she fully realizes that in order for you to collect your bounty, you would have to let yourself get arrested. And so how are you going to collect on a bounty on yourself? You won't be able to spend it in jail. But I don't think she realizes that because of how much she's actually worth. Musician, Soul King Brook, bounty of 383 million berries. Shipwright, Cyborg Frankie, bounty 394 million berries. Now, with his wanted poster, they have a picture of the Sunny instead of his actual face. Sniper, God Usopp, bounty of 500 million berries. And just like the same bounty that Doflamingo put on Usopp back then, during when he had everyone in the birdcage and wanted to get his hands on the people that annoyed him the most, Doflamingo put a 500 million berry bounty on Usopp. Basically, he was the one person out of everyone that had the highest bounty, because the way it worked was like whichever person It has up here how many stars they have is 100 million berries each, and Usopp wound up having like a 5 stars, which equals to 500 million berries each. And everyone was trying to go after Usopp in this deadly game that Doflamingo put forward. Am I a professional film recommender? Also saw you in an ad. I was in an ad? Am I a professional film recommender? You saw me in an ad? I haven't done a commercial since 2016. That was an eBay commercial. It wasn't an eBay commercial, was it? Because that was quite a long time ago. You saw me in an ad. Someone out there using my face. Who out there using my face in their ads? What? What did you mean you saw me in an ad? I'm not a part of anything. Who using my face? But am I professional? Oh. Wait. Am I a professional film recommender? Also, I saw you in a... Wait, a game ad? You saw me in a game ad. Was it a mobile game? What? You saw me in a game ad. I'm sorry, that's distracting to me because this is the first I'm hearing of it. I didn't volunteer for no game ads. No one talked to me about no game ads. What? Yes, you think? Do you know what game this was? Can you remember? If you can remember what game this was, let me know. Just let me know, okay? Because this is not the first time I've heard about this happening. People using other people's stuff to promote their ads. I would definitely not promote a video game ad, nor would I allow my likeness to be used in a video game ad as in an attempt to promote it. I don't do that. If it's not a game I myself would not play, I would not put my face on it. It was an anime style. You said this was awesome. I got some digging to do. You don't put that in my head now. There's people out there using my face to promote their mobile game ads, but without my consent. Oh, we're going to have words. I don't know how long it's going to take me to find this video, but I'm going to find it. Ooh, I'm going to find it. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Using my face to promote something without my consent at all. I don't like that, Buggy. I don't like it. No, I'm going to find out who that is. But for right now, we got to continue. I'm glad you said something because I never would have known. Oh yeah, they're going to know who I am. In a minute. But Usopp gets like a 500 million berry bounty on him, which echoes his bounty that he had during Doflamingo's game, death game in the birdcage back in Dressrosa. And then we have archaeologist demon child Nico Robin, whose bounty goes up to almost 1 billion, with her bounty being 930 million. Then we got Cook Blackleg Sanji, 1.32 billion berries. Helmsman, first son of the sea Jinbei, 1.1 billion berries. And then Master Swordsman, Pirate Hunter Zoro, 1.111 billion berries. Now, quite a few people were confused. Someone actually illegally posted my face. They probably got one of my reactions off of my channel and then used it to promote their game. But I'm gonna find them. I'm not playing. For one thing, you are not going to be using my face in your ads just to promote your trash game. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you've been to my channel and you basically just took my reaction to something that has nothing to do with your mobile game and you're promoting yourself using my face. That looks bad on me because it makes it seem like I'm supporting that. I'm not. I'm going to find them. Back to this. But a lot of people were confused because people were confused about why Zoro's bounty was 1.111 billion berries, because there was some confusion about his correct bounty because a lot of people read early scans. And because of that, when the official ones release in these chapters, they get confused and think like, well, this bounty doesn't read the way it does in the scans. That's not correct. So this is another reason why I don't read early scans of chapters for manga and stuff that I react to, because of the confusion it can have in mistranslations. So his official bounty is 1.111 billion berries, which makes his bounty higher than Jinbei's and Sanji's. And Sanji is already upset that his bounty is lower than his, because beforehand he was happy that his bounty was higher than Zoro's before the new bounties popped up. And this was leading up to Wano, like during the events of Whole Cake Island, where we saw his new bounty, and he was prepared to lord his bounty over Zoro. So, but now Zoro's bounty is way higher than his, with Sanji now being the fourth highest bounty in the entire crew, with Luffy, then Zoro, Jinbei, and then himself. And then we have Captain, Emperor of the Sea, Straw Hat Luffy, bounty 3 billion berries. Buggy, in the scans, it says 1,100,1,100. But it's really supposed to be 1,111,000,000. So yeah, I can see where the confusion goes there. I can see where the confusion pops in there. That's why I don't read early scans. I rather read the official ones. And then we got Captain Emperor of the Sea, Straw Hat Luffy, bounty of 3 billion berries. And as this fighting is going on, we cut to Empty Bluffs Island in the New World, where Crocodile and Mihawk have Buggy dead to rights. Like, they beat up on Buggy. Like, his face is messed up. He's got knots over his face, and everyone's all like, all those battleships surrounded us. I thought we were goners, but I should have had more faith in Chairman Buggy. Just look at him now. And the crew doesn't realize that he's basically at the mercy of both Crocodile and Mihawk in the inside of the tent. And Crocodile says, the entire idea for the Cross-Guild organization came from me and Hawkeyes. How did you get labeled the boss, Buggy? And then he says, I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry, or maybe better luck next time. And then Mihawk says, you're the first man to rise to the rank of Emperor by saying I'm sorry. And by my blade, you'll be the last. Only death can right this wrong. And then Crocodile says, the world's humiliation doesn't even begin to describe this feeling. And Buggy's just pleading for his life. And he says, please don't kill me. And then Mihawk says, that's not an option. And then it cuts to Galdino as he's, sucking up to Crocodile again. And then Buggy's all like, Galdino, are you stabbing me in the back after all this time? And then Galdino says, I was never working for you at any point, Buggy. And then it shows all of Buggy's crew just chilling. And then it shows Daz Bones. And then it shows Mihawk way back on Gloom Island when those ships were surrounding his home. As apparently Crocodile was speaking to him. And apparently Mihawk is, getting all of his stuff together and packing it all up. And apparently he has security cameras. No, that's not security cameras. What is... Oh, it's the mandrills! The mandrills are watching the humandrills are watching Mihawk get all of his stuff ready as he's putting some. Here's the thing. I thought he wasn't. No, he actually wasn't getting his stuff ready. He's just getting some wine out. He's just casually getting some wine out. But Crocodile is speaking to him. Kind of hope the rest of Baroque Works comes back to join Cross Guild. Ooh, a resurgence of Baroque Works coming back. Miss Doublefinger, Miss All Day Sunday. Like, you said Miss Doublefinger the same time I did. Miss Doublefinger, Miss Wednesday. Like, all these other people. It'd be interesting to see Baroque Works come back, but in the form of joining up with the Cross Guild. I would actually like to see some members of Baroque Works come back. Even though we just got Mr. Zero and Mr. One, like, come back. But Crocodile is, Mihawk is saying the Navy has this island surrounded at the moment. I need to pick up and move base, bothersome as it might be. And Crocodile says, then come over to my side. It's not a bad deal. With our name value combined, the Navy will have to sit up and take notice. You were known as the Naval Hunter once upon a time, so even Mihawk had like a history before he became the world's greatest swordsman. Just like the way Zoro is called the Pirate Hunter now, that's his epithet right now, Mihawk, before he became the world's greatest swordsman, was once known as the Naval Hunter. In terms of distrust for others, we have at least one thing in common already. And then it cuts back to the present as he glares at Buggy, and then Buggy's thinking about what happened the moment the Navy abolished the 7 warlords, and they all came after Buggy. He's thinking about trying to run away, and then the rest of his crew is going like, hey, turn around and fight. Are you afraid of the Navy? And then Buggy is all like, leave me alone. I'm trying to make my skedaddling plans. And then his crew members are going, all the battleships around the island, they're under attack. All the battleships are under attack. And we see tons of smoke. We see tons of smoke emanating from a lot of the battleships. Some are even sinking. In this instance, both Crocodile and Daz Bones pretty much just wreck shop with everyone on the battleships that were surrounding them at the moment. And then seeing this, Buggy's very stupid and oblivious crew members think that Crocodile is somehow working for Buggy. For some odd reason, they think that Crocodile's working for him. And this just cements their devotion to Buggy even more. All thanks to you, Chairman Buggy. Oh, so it's Crocodile. He's come to collect all the money I owe him. What'll I do? I don't have that kind of cash. This is even worse for me than the Navy. So it turns out that the reason why he was able to get this business up and running, this whole Buggy's delivery service, was money that Crocodile loaned him. I know you well enough to assume you'd try to fly the coop. How did he know? Listen, Buggy's delivery might seem wildly profitable, but the overhead, I have so many mouths to feed, and the giants who were our biggest earners just left. If you can't pay up, I can always sell you into slavery. Whoa, let's not be nasty. Come on, we escaped and fell down together, remember? Crocky baby. And if you can't pay back the money I was nice enough to lend you after that, you need to make it up to me. I'm starting a new company, and I need funds. And Buggy's all like, hey, I know, let me help out with your business. Believe it or not, I'm a former warlord, and I'll be your errand boy. I'll work off my debt. You gotta give your new company a flashy public debut, right? I got all kinds of guys working for me. Advertising, design, printing, distribution, we can do it all. Use our services all you want for free. And your genius idea was a flyer? And your genius idea for a flyer was this? Mighty lofty spot you're occupying there, boss. No, you don't understand. That's not what I intended. Because despite Buggy's actual intentions, his crew members operate that he is the mastermind behind everything. Even though there's actually no evidence to point him out to be a mastermind at all. So when they brought up the poster to Buggy, they created him with him at the forefront, with Crocodile and Mihawk behind him, because they value Buggy that much. and they praise him and worship him that much. So they put him out in front, not knowing the situation. They just nonchalantly put him out on front. And without his knowledge, they distribute it all across the world. So now it's out there in the world that Crocodile and Mihawk are working under Buggy. And because of this misinformation, it makes its way to Navy HQ, where Brand New tells everyone, and he started, this Buggy figure was the ringleader of the, it goes down the list of how Buggy was the mastermind behind so many things that happened from Impel down all the way up until right now. This Buggy figure was the ringleader of the Impel Down mass breakout, and he started off on the King of the Pirates crew. He once stood shoulder to shoulder with the Emperor Redhair. Yeah, because Shanks was right next to him at the time. That's about the only thing that he can stand shoulder to shoulder with. They're about the same height. He commands so much respect that even Crocodile rushed to his aid at Empty Bluffs Island. No, he was there to collect the money that Buggy owed him. We intercepted signals that confirm Crocodile and Mihawk are involved. The Navy hunters already have funding from many criminal groups. In the world's current state of insurrection, this cross guild will prove to be a major threat to us. What are their bounties? Former Warlord of the Sea, Sir Crocodile, based on his Logia powers, intelligence, and leadership, 1.965 billion berries. So his bounty is already eclipsing those of everyone on Luffy's crew except for Luffy himself. Hawkeye's Mihawk, former Warlord of the Sea with greater sword skill than even Redhair the Emperor. As the strongest swordsman in the world, he is worth 3.59 billion berries, just below Shanks. But over Luffy's. Buggy the Genius Jester. On top of his prior feats, he has the power to command these other two men. 3.189 billion berries. Now, mind you, if I remember correctly, the bounties on Kid was raised to how many million? Hold on, I'm looking it up. His bounty was raised to 3 billion. So Kid, Law, and Luffy's bounty were raised to 3 billion. But Buggy's bounty is over Luffy's. So we have Shanks, we have Mihawk, and then we have Buggy, whose bounty is right underneath them. And all based on misinformation. I am shaking my whole desk. I need to get a new one. My apologies. All the stuff that Buggy has gained was based on misinformation. 3.189 billion berries. Alongside Straw Hat Luffy, he is now an Emperor of the Sea, a figure who poses a clear and present danger to the world government. And then it cuts back to the present with Mihawk saying, but depending on how you think about it, it may not be the worst idea to make him take the spotlight. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be an Emperor. I'd prefer a quieter life. Are you serious? And then Mihawk is just chill with it. It annoys him, but he's rather this be the situation he's in rather than putting the spotlight on him. Let him take the brunt of the attention, and if he becomes inconvenient, we can get rid of him at any time. That's a good point. And then it cuts to Buggy saying, listen up, you swabs. In order to adapt to the coming new era, I have established the Cross Guild. Here's a look at our chief officers. And then using his Devil Fruit power, he makes them look all real big as Crocodile and Mihawk are standing there next to him. While Buggy is looking like he's crying, but he's really crying because he's in a situation where either man could kill him at any moment, and he literally has no other choice but to play along. Then we cut to the Kamabaka Queendom in the Grand Line, where all the revolutionaries have returned, all the ones who went to go and rescue Kuma from the Gorosei, Buggy has had the biggest increase in the story from 15 million to 3,189. Seriously, this dude has gained everything with little to no effort. And it wasn't even intentional. This dude went from being a person that was assaulting a village where Nami was posing as a member of his crew and faced off against Luffy, to being a person that got sent to Impel Down, and then every event afterwards made him look like he was a godlike figure. Then he became a warlord. Then his warlord status was taken from him after he established his delivery service. Then after that, the whole world sees him as like an ally or brother to Shanks. This dude is a master of being in the right place at the right time, but not even knowing what is going on. The example of failing upwards with barely any effort. Gaining success with no effort. Blackbeard had to work and be patient in order to get to where he is right now, having been the first person in One Piece history to hold not one but two devil fruits, including devil fruits that one has the power to destroy the world and another that can reduce everything to nothing with crushing darkness. Not only has he usurped the opportunities and locations that were once wielded by Whitebeard, but now he's having his own crew and his own fleets out there searching for other Devil Fruit users to take their powers from. He worked towards this. He even almost, had it not been for Shiryu of the Rain in Impel Down, he would have died that very same day from Magellan's poison. Magellan was the closest person to killing killing Blackbeard, not Whitebeard. Magellan was the closest person to killing Blackbeard in the entire series with barely any effort at all. He almost one-shot Blackbeard, because Blackbeard was like, his entire crew got covered in the poison. He's all like, I don't have time to deal with you right now, and just washed them over with a massive wave of poison and just walked past all of them. So Magellan was the one person who was closest to one-shotting Blackbeard throughout the entire series. But had it not been for Shiryu of the Rain, Blackbeard wouldn't be where he is right now. But Blackbeard worked towards everything that he's done. He's very patient, but he's worked towards everything. Buggy, on the other hand, has basically had everything handed to him. And every situation where it seems like things are about to kill him, miraculous God-sent moment. And he gets out of it. This dude has seen so much success without even working towards that success. He's had everyone else just bring it towards him. It's weird how successful this guy has been without actually being successful. Something is in my nose bothering me. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Apologies for that. I had to take care of that and blow my nose a little bit because it was getting weird. But we cut to the Kamabaka Queendom in the Grand Line, where all the revolutionaries that went to go rescue Kuma and proclaim war against the Celestial Dragons, they return with everyone celebrating. But then, as this is going on, he says, "You're going to pay for making us worry so much, Sabo," as they find out that Sabo is fine. And they're all cheering, but Dragon is off on his own. And Koala goes, "Dragon?" And Dragon goes, "Sabo is just fine. But if it's true that he killed King Cobra, there will be a reckoning between us, no matter his reason." And it shows that Dragon is standing right in front of Bartholomew Kuma, who not only has been rescued by them, but they also put him back in his old clothes that he used to wear when he used to be one of the revolutionaries. And then it cuts to Dragon saying, "Tell me, Kuma, what is it that you've seen?" And then, given the fact that Kuma is still a pacifista who no longer has his original personality, he just follows orders and says, "As you command." And Koala gets teared up at seeing her former friend look this way, her former comrade look this way. And then a Den rings, and then back at Marine HQ, they pick up the signal and they try to listen in. And Koala says, "Hello, Koala speaking." And then it turns out that someone on the other end says, "It's me, Sabo." And that's where the chapter 1058 ends. So, if we go here, we got a long summary, but we got some references here. So, the Straw chapter notes is the Straw Hats survived the departure from Wano country. Robin receives the crew's new bounties from the news coup. Chopper's bounty is 1,000 berries. Is now recognized as the crew's doctor while still retaining his pet status. So he's no longer just called the pet, but he's seen as the crew's doctor, but he still has his pet status. He's the doctor pet. Nami's bounty is 366 million berries. Brooke's bounty is 383 million berries. Frankie's bounty is 394 million berries. His bounty poster now depicts the Thousand Sunnies figurehead. Usopp's bounty is 500 million. Robin's bounty is 930 million. Sanji's bounty is 1,032 million. His poster appears to have a new picture and no longer has his family name on it. He's no longer called Vinsmoke Sanji on his wanted posters anymore. So at least that's a good thing for Sanji, but he still doesn't like the fact that his bounty is the 4th highest on the list underneath Zoro's of all people. Jinbei's bounty is 1,100 million, and Zoro's bounty is 1,111 million. Luffy's current 9 members are now referred to as 9 senior officers of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Crocodile and Mihawk are now on Kadai Body Island. They have Buggy under their power due to him being recognized by the public as the president of Cross Guild. Galdino reveals he never joined the Buggy Pirates officially and returns to work under Crocodile. The formation of Cross Guild is shown in a series of flashbacks. Crocodile contacted Mihawk in order to form the Cross Guild after the dissolution of the 7 Warlords of the Sea, and Mihawk's original epithet was Marine Hunter. Crocodile and Daz Bones, the latter seen for the first time since the time skip, attacked the Marine ships that were heading to capture Buggy. Buggy had some money borrowed from Crocodile, but since he could not pay his debt to him, he let Crocodile take over his Buggy delivery organization. Due to his subordinate's love for him, Buggy was advertised as the Cross Guild leader, leading to the Marines recognizing him as much as well as giving him the status of an Emperor of the Sea. Crocodile and Mihawk ultimately let Buggy remain as president in order to have him attract all the unwanted attention. Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk's new bounties are shown. Crocodile's bounty is 1,965 million. Mihawk's bounty is 3,590 million. And Buggy's bounty is 3,189 million. The Revolutionary Army commanders have arrived on Momoriro Island with Kuma. Dragon says he will never forgive Sabo if the rumors are true that he killed Nefertari Cobra. Dragon also questions Kuma about what he witnessed at Marijois. And given the fact that Kuma has been with the Celestial Dragons for so long, subject to their slavery and their torture. I mean, the first time we seen Kuma during the time skip, all the way recently during the whole Marijois arc where we were seeing the Reverie, this dude was being constantly beaten, forced into like a slavery suit, and then had multiple weapons just stabbed into his body, with him having no way of reciprocating any feelings at all. He was just basically a soulless slave. But imagine everything that Kuma saw. Secrets that only the celestial dragons would know, just shown in front of his eyes, but he couldn't do anything because he was a slave. Imagine everything that Kuma saw that we didn't. Imagine all the stuff that the celestial dragons are doing that no one else knows about. Kuma was one of the top slaves that the celestial dragons were using this entire time. Imagine all the stuff that he's seen. I can't even imagine how long he's actually been with the celestial dragons in Marijois. Because the last time we saw Kuma was when he had that final order put in him by Vegapunk in order to protect the Thousand Sunny during the time skip. And then we didn't see him anymore until the Reverie storyline. So imagine all that time passing and everything happening with Kuma that he's seen and remembers. The dude could be brimming with so many celestial dragon secrets that no one else knows, simply because in their heads, the celestial dragons probably never thought that anyone would ever break into Marijois and take away one of their slaves. So they basically could be saying and doing whatever, not knowing what would eventually transpire. Given their penchant for being extremely nonchalant and that they're above the law and above humans, they could do or basically say whatever they want and not fear any consequences that may come down on them simply because they see themselves as gods. So with that in mind, Kuma is literally the most dangerous person that the celestial dragons have basically had under them this entire time that they thought they had a control over. Because now with Kuma gone, any secrets that may have been said in front of him will go straight to Dragon. Imagine all the info they can get from Kuma. He's been a slave for the Celestial Dragons and been in Marijois. He must have seen and know things that could be important. Exactly, Grant. And I kind of had a glance at that, but I was still going off when I was talking. So Grant and I both have the same idea in mind. The secrets that Kuma could possibly know. Especially if there are secrets that no one else on Marijois knows except for the Celestial Dragons themselves, not even the guards of the Celestial Dragons. Just very super deep secrets that they know but don't want anyone else to know. It could mean the literal downfall of the Celestial Dragons. And I know it seems like a bit of a stretch by me saying that, but anytime we find out anything new about Marijois, it is always something that is groundbreaking. Like, firstly, when we get to Marijois, we find out that their moving road is basically powered by people underneath, by countless amounts of slaves that are forced to move the ground so that the Celestial Dragons never have to walk. Then we find out that deep underneath Marijois is like some sort of secret underground vault that I guess Im-sama knows about, and there's a gigantic straw hat in cryogenics down there. Then we find out that the so-called empty throne is actually seated by Im-sama himself, who is therefore seen as the ruler of the world because the Godosei bowed before him when he showed up, asking what light needs to be extinguished from the world. So many secrets of Marijois every single time we go there. So many secrets of Marijois have been absolutely massive and monumental. So whatever Kuma could know, it's probably not going to be small in comparison to what we know now. Do you think it's a possibility we could get Sabo's bounty updated in Dragon's bounty next chapter? I don't know about the next chapter, but it could be soon. I don't know, because Sabo's bounty and Dragon's bounty are the only bounties we don't know about. We don't know Sabo's bounty at all. And lastly, here in the details, the Marines wiretap a revolutionary Denden Mushi call from Sabo to Koala. We don't know Sabo's bounty. Wait, yeah, we do. We do know Sabo's bounty. It says here his bounty is 602 million. It says it right here. His bounty is 602 million right here. My apologies. I gave y'all some misinformation. We do know Sabo's bounty. Currently, it is 602 million. But that is likely to change due to what he's doing to the stability of different nations that are under the world government. The world government could possibly raise his bounty even further due to all these revolutions, these 8-nation revolution states going up in arms under his name, which could very well raise his bounty even higher. So really, when you think about it, the only person's bounty that we don't know about is Dragons. We don't know his bounty at all. Sabo, we already know. Currently, it sits at 602 million, but Dragon is the only one we don't know about. Surely his bounty will be changed due to him now being called the Flame Emperor. Exactly. I find it funny, the latency, I don't know why it is so held back. Because the moment I'm saying some of these things, you're saying them as well, Grant. So I don't know why. It's like you and I are thinking on the same wavelength while I am saying these words. So it's only a matter of time. That's where his bounty stands right now. That's where Sabo's bounty stands right now. But it could go even higher. Especially given the fact that they said like he could have influence stronger than Dragons. So the moment we find out Dragon's bounty, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to put his bounty range in whatever range they have for Dragon. YouTube lag? Yeah. Dragon's probably going to be the 4 billions. I would not be surprised, Neil. I wouldn't. Because given the stat, because you don't give a person... Hold on, let me make sure I'm not leaning too far into the chat right here. You don't just give like a regular person. You don't give a person who has the title of world's most dangerous man a small bounty in any comparison. So I wouldn't be surprised if his bounty reaches up to the 4 billion rank. Or maybe even get past that. Dragon's bounty 6 billion, going for it. Hey, if it's 6 billion... I mean, I'd understand it. Sure, you have Roger, who is the pirate king, who did what no one else has been able to do in the entire history of One Piece, has completely conquered the Grand Line, found the One Piece, even learned the history about the rest of the world, but since no one on Roger's crew were like archaeologists or anything like that, they couldn't really make heads or tails of what they learned. They could only understand from like a surface level, which is where Robin comes into play, because eventually we're going to learn the history of the Void Century. Isn't that amazing? We're going to learn about what happened during the Void Century or what caused the Void Century. Dragon was called most dangerous man while Whitebeard was alive. Gotta be above him. He has to be, because Whitebeard was called the strongest man alive. But being called the most dangerous man alive seems a lot more intimidating than the world's strongest man. That's how I feel. So Dragon's bounty has gotta be high. I will be absolutely, legitimately shocked if Dragon's bounty is not high. But I doubt it, because Oda cannot just be teasing us with a title like the world's dangerous man and not give him a bounty that reciprocates that nickname. I'm just saying. But back to Kuma, this dude has endured so much torture. I don't know if they're going to be able to give Kuma his personality back. I don't know. Maybe they know something. I don't know. But the fact that Kuma is back with the revolutionaries, that's something. Gomu can be written as 56 and 5.6 billion is bigger than Rogers. I think Luffy ends the series with the highest bounty ever issued, 5.6 billion, which is why I think Dragon will be under that number. I mean, at the end of the series, Luffy is going to surpass Roger. It's already foretold. It has to be that way. It has to be where he doesn't just match Roger's bounty, but he surpasses his bounty as well. It ought to be interesting. Because we're not getting a chapter this upcoming Sunday. These are a lot of things to think about. But as a whole, I want to know the relationship between Kuma, Jewelry Bonnie, and the Sorbet Kingdom. I want to know more about just because we already know the relationship between Kuma and the Sorbet Kingdom because he used to be the former king. But I want to know, I'm more concerned and more interested in the relationship specifically between Jewelry Bonnie and Kuma himself. Because if I remember correctly, she's able to change her age at will, being a young kid all the way down to an elderly woman. And when she was an elderly woman, apparently one of the people from Marijois recognized her, which means that in the past, do we even know Jewelry Bonnie's actual age? I don't think we do. Because with her ability to basically change her age, she could be, for all intents and purpose, basically ageless. Okay, so estimated her age is gauged as estimated on her page. It's not concrete due to the fact that she can change her age at will. So the only dates that we get for her age is basically one where she's she can basically be whatever age she wants. So if we go down here to Bartholomew, Kuma seems to have some kind of an as of yet unclear relationship with Takuma. However, the nature of said relationship seems to be a positive one, as she shows an intense rage towards the world government for enslaving him and allowing him to suffer abuse at the hands of the world nobles. So whatever relationship Jewelry Bonnie has with Kuma, it has to be a cordial one, because she was in tears when she saw him. And the last time we saw her in tears over someone was when she saw Whitebeard die in Marineford. She was tearful when she saw Whitebeard die. So what is her relationship to Whitebeard to the point where she's sad to see him go? Just like she was teary-eyed when she saw Kuma. I'm just saying. What arc do you think will be next? I've seen people thinking it will be a revolutionary arc, but I think it's a more endgame arc. I'm guessing Elbaf. What do you think will be next? A lot of people seem to be pointing towards Elbaf, but it really depends on the next goal of the Straw Hats. We are in a position where we have absolutely no idea where the story is going to go at all. This is the first time since Punk Hazard where we don't have a roadmap as to what our goal is. Because Punk Hazard took us from Punk Hazard to Dressrosa to Zoe to Whole Cake Island and then to Wano, with the end goal being of bringing down Kaido and freeing Wano. But this is the first time in several years where we have absolutely no heading except for the direction that the Straw Hats are going in, which is southeast. What is southeast? That's the question. If we know what's southeast, then we can get a rough idea of where the Straw Hats are going to go and where the story could possibly be. You always like the theory that Bonnie is Ace's sister. If a boy Ace, if a girl Anne, and Anne Bonnie is Bonnie's... If a boy Ace, if a girl Anne, and Anne Bonnie is Bonnie's namesake. It's also possible that she's the Anne that Roger would have named his daughter after, seeing how her aliases are Bonnie, Connie. Her original name could be Ani, like Annie. It sounds nice, Neil. It sounds nice. But this wouldn't be the first time that I heard theories about people trying to give Ace siblings out of nowhere. Because I heard one dude say that Robin was the long-lost sister of Ace for whatever reason. But the basis behind his judgment by that theory made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I mean, these sound nice, and I'm not dismissing what you're saying, but me personally, I don't see it. I don't see it. Feels like kind of like grasping at straws a little bit. But the only thing that kind of has me concerned is Blackbeard and what Sabo's doing. You're grasping at straws. I understand. It's perfectly okay. I mean, that's what some of these streams are for. But I'm a bit of a realist when it comes to thinking about where a story could head. Like, say, for My Hero Academia or One Piece, I try to piece together what concrete information we have within these chapters, and then base theories off of that. Yeah, seen the theory of Ace having a twin sister and they split up at birth. I think people only guess because of Ace's mother's hair color. More grasping at straws. When you think about it, a lot of our theories are really just us grasping at straws, regardless if we have concrete information or not. But I feel like we are in a state of One Piece right now where we are at our most blind, where we are at our most oblivious. Because Wano's done. Any attempt of finding out what the end goal is going to be is gone now. We have no idea where this next storyline is going to take us. It could take us to Elbaf. It could cut to the Revolutionaries. It could cut to Blackbeard. It could cut to Shanks dealing with Bartolomeo. It could cut to the Marines and dealing with the pirates and the SSG and what they've come up with to pretty much get rid of all the warlords. It could cut to... I had someone else in mind. I can't remember. I just brought them up. It could cut to... It could cut to the Cross Guild and what's going on there. It's literally anyone's guess, and that's why I say this all the time. We just gotta wait for these chapters. We could come up with theories all day, but Oda's the one that has the final say in it. Oda's too smart to predict, that's it. Oda likes his setups to have lots of different possible outcomes. Yeah, this dude basically makes a timeline, but he also makes a journeying timeline so he can deviate into that without ruining his story, but change up a little thing. Like, if you want, Oda is he's not only too smart to predict, but he's difficult to predict. Sure, some people have made some solid theories that turned out to be slightly right, but that's just theories. Never has it been like we stated it as fact, because Oda is not predictable, which is a good thing, because that's how you keep people interested in this story. Because if a story becomes predictable, then it becomes then you become less excited to see the next chapter, because you can already assume what's going to happen next. What makes these chapters of One Piece so good, save for some of the fights that tend to drag on a little bit too long, is the unpredictable nature of it. That's why I love this series so much, because no matter how many theories we come up with, Oda always throws us for a loop. Was I expecting to see Mihawk's bounty in the last chapter? No! Was I expecting to even see Crocodile and Mihawk show up together? No! I wasn't expecting any of that. How many arcs do you think will be in the final saga? So far, Marineford Saga was biggest with 3 to 5 arcs, depending on what you count in that last saga. How many? We got to think about how many loose ends are left in One Piece. Big mysteries that are going to require their own specific arcs in order to include them. So however many major loose ends that are still existing in One Piece that need to be closed, I feel like there should be resounding arcs around each of them. So maybe 4 or 5, maybe within that 4 to 5 range. I don't count on me to stick to this number, because like I said, Oda is very unpredictable. So we don't know how long he's going to go with each individual arc within a saga. We just don't know. The arcs that are a must read are Lodestar and Laugh Tale. Are a must need are Lodestar and Laugh Tale. Yes, absolutely. Lodestar and Laugh Tale itself. Those are probably going to be the biggest storylines, story-related, lore-related stories that we ever get in One Piece, just due to their proximity to the One Piece itself. I feel like once we get to Lodestar Island, that is going to be basically the Avengers endgame of One Piece. Even though Oda says we're entering into the entering into the ending of One Piece, there's still so much. Don't know if Lodestar is needed. The Minks did say that Lodestar just exists to redirect you to the poneglyphs. Ah, right. They do redirect you to the poneglyphs, but having control of that island or having something happen on that island could have major implications for them actually getting to Laugh Tale itself. Hiro, hey Kyushu, thank you for live streaming One Piece. No problem, Hiro. We're just going over the chapters and just thinking where the story could possibly go from here. What is a Lodestar? Oh, that's the name of an island. That's the name of an island in One Piece. Going to Lodestar Island will then help you get to Laugh Tale. Yes, it is the last, right here it says, Lodestar Island is the last island in the New World that can be reached by following the log posts. And the second to last island in the entire Grand Line. All different paths on the Grand Line ultimately lead to Lodestar Island. According to Orochi, travelers who reach the island become aware of the poneglyphs, the civilization that created them, as well as the hidden final island of Laugh Tale. Since the Roger Pirates were the first known people to visit Lodestar Island in 800 years, it is implied that reaching it is extremely difficult. Additionally, for some reason, the log post cannot reset and point towards the next island on Lodestar, and instead the needles will just spin. Oh, yo, Hero, real quick, it's your birthday today? Happy birthday! A Lodestar is one of Ben 10's transformations. Heard that One Piece fans found out where we're potentially going next. Think the Revolutionary Army versus the Celestial Dragons and Laugh Tale will be the biggest arcs to come? Yes. The war between the Revolutionary Army and the Celestial Dragons is going to be massive. Because this is going to be one group of people who basically want to destroy and abolish an entire organization that has existed for 8 centuries. But it's your favorite series. Once again, it's one of my favorite series as well. I mean, I've dedicated a lot of years of my life going through this entire series. It's been so long since I've been covering One Piece. My goodness. Not gonna lie, if Im-sama is actually a being from hundreds of years ago, then nobody should be able to beat it, unless it's a team-up between Yonko-level characters. We don't know the specifics about Im-sama. We don't know how strong he is. We don't know what power he has. But it would kind of suck, for me personally, One Piece is top number 1. Like, I have a lot of series, but when I think about it, I put a ton of effort into covering One Piece on this channel over anything else that I do when I think about it. Like, the amount of hours I can spend on One Piece alone. So yeah, it might pretty much be my favorite series of all time. Yeah. You think the Gorosei are frauds? I feel like they're frontmen. I feel like they're there just to be like set pieces to run things for Im-sama, so Im-sama can do whatever he wants without anyone else knowing. Just like the Cross Guild exists, and they're allowing Buggy to be the front people, and Mihawk and Crocodile are allowing Buggy to be the person who gains all the attention so they can do whatever they want. I believe that Im-sama is allowing the Gorosei to be the front people who have the greatest power in the world government, so Im-sama can do whatever he wants. Take all that attention from him. Because I'm pretty sure only the Gorosei know of Im-sama. No one else does. Because if the world knew about him, Im-sama immortal from the Ope Ope no Mi, I heard about that theory, and I've thought about that for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if The whole concept of learning about the Ope Ope no Mi, having the ability to make one immortal, came from Im-sama becoming immortal. Like I said, this is a grasping at straws moment, and it's a far-off theory. But I wouldn't be surprised if the person who underwent this immortal surgery was Im-sama himself, to rule the world for all eternity. It sounds nice. It really does sound like a nice theory. It kind of sounds plausible, but we'd have to see. Yo, Ravi! Welcome! We're talking about One Piece. There's just so many loose ends to tie up. Let me go back to what you said. There are so many things left to do, from Elbaf to Laugh-Tale, Vegapunk, and fights against Blackbeard and Marines, plus Revolutionary Army and Lodestar. There's just so much to cover in One Piece. Now, I talk about 4 to 5 arcs or whatever, but there's just so much in One Piece, I even wonder how Oda's going to be able to cover them all. Then we got this news from Kid and Killer about a man with a burn scar, and it could literally mean anyone. It could mean Sabo, it could mean Kuzan, or it could mean someone else entirely. Gotta have a huge arc covering all of Roger's backstory, which would include God Valley, what happened during God Valley, and why. And we gotta have a moment where we cover Rocks as well. Let's not dismiss Rocks, because Rocks is a very big part of this story as well. Almost forgot, Fishman Island's destruction still has to come as well. There's just so many things to cover in One Piece. When you think about it, all the things that have been discussed in One Piece that have come to a close, but then we still have lingering issues and future issues for One Piece, there's still so much. There was so many things just revealed to us in the Wano arc alone. But then the Wano arc revealed even brand new stuff to add on top of the checklist of things that Oda's gonna have to go through. There's still so much One Piece left. Maybe the immortality surgery gives you the lifespan of the person who performed the surgery, and the Gorosei needs someone with the fruit every half century or so. Kind of like how Apocalypse needs to switch over bodies every couple hundred years in order to keep himself young, but also gain more power in the process. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. At least from X-Men Apocalypse. At least it's in the way of the X-Men Apocalypse movie. Still another ancient weapon? Yeah, we already know that Poseidon is Shirahoshi. Pluton is in Wano. And eventually, Wano's borders are going to have to open up, which means that its natural defenses that it has around itself that allows it to keep itself safe from anyone else, those are definitely going to have to get destroyed at some point in order for Pluton to become uncovered. The ancient weapons at some point are all going to have to come into play at the end of the story. You don't just bring up the ancient weapons and then they're never used. The ancient weapons are probably going to have a massive, massive part to play later, much later in the story. Because what do we know of the ancient weapons as of right now? Three ancient weapons: Pluton, Poseidon, and Uranus. So Pluton is in Wano. Poseidon is in Fishman Island. In Uranus, we don't know much about. We don't know where its location is. All we know is that it's a dangerous weapon which can be used to rule the world or in the wrong hands, destroy it. Uranus was a weapon known to have existed during the Void Century. Its action during this point in history, its specifications, abilities, location, and what became of it still remains unknown. So we know what happened to both ancient weapons, but we don't know what's going on with Uranus. What do you think about the thought of Oda having too many characters saved up for the last saga and potentially fumbling because of that? I believe that's the reason why he took a break for a full month in order to formulate it so everything fits together. I'm not worried about Oda fumbling his storyline. I think that him taking that previous month-long break was him making sure that everything made sense. So I'm not worried about him fumbling with so many characters being introduced. I'm not worried about him. We still don't know if Weevil and Boa survived the marine assault. Oh, they survived. They survived. They survived. We still don't know what happened to Boa. She survived as well. I wouldn't be surprised if she survived as well. I mean, she's incredibly strong, and with her devil fruit power, it makes her a very dangerous person to fight against. How do you fight against a person that can basically turn you to stone if you even have a slight inkling of any dirty thoughts? And then with her massive mastery of Conqueror's Haki and her massive strength, you're turned to stone, you're basically getting shattered. And the person that went up against her has a person that they both have in common, which is Luffy. I wouldn't be surprised if Boa's just fine and something's happened between her and Kobe because of their association with Luffy. I thought about this the entire time. It's no coincidence that Kobe was making his way to arrest Boa Hancock, and both of these people are affiliated with Luffy. Kobe is a massive fanboy for Luffy. Boa Hancock is a massive fangirl for Luffy. You can send Fujitora against Boa. He's blind. That's the only person you can send against her. That's the only person. Not worried about Oda not paying off the ancient weapons. The trope is called Chekhov's gun. Oda rides Chekhov's arsenal. Also, cover page stories. Enel on the moon and Straw Hat's Grand Fleet still got to make a return. They do. They have to. Weevil next enemy. They still, what is her name? Bakken. That's her name. Bakken is the mother of Weevil, self-proclaimed lover of Whitebeard, but we know Whitebeard don't lower his standards that low. Still out there trying to find Marco and Luffy because of some sort of treasure that Whitebeard had, but he doesn't have anything because anything he made, he sent back to his hometown in Sphinx in order to keep it up. There's so many loose ends for the story as a whole to cover. Not just loose ends before the end of the story, but loose ends that we've seen pop up in just the Wano arc alone that has basically just extended the Chekhov list even more. Will Pudding's third eye power ever come into play? I mean, the only reason why Big Mom wanted to groom Pudding in order to have her awaken her third eye was for the hopes of being able to read the row poneglyphs so that she can find the One Piece. Because people of the Third Eye tribe are able to read poneglyphs and understand them like Robin is able to. The only thing is, Pudding's third eye hasn't really allowed her to read the poneglyphs and know where to go next. So that's the only downside. So I'm just thinking where we are right now. Wano's over, but there's still so much One Piece left. Can anyone tell me what exactly happened to Kaido and Big Mom? Like, are they dead or what? I'm actually confused. If they are alive, where are they? Their status is unknown right now. A lot of people will say they're dead because they both got caught up in an explosion. And a lot of people will say they're alive based on no information whatsoever. I say their status is left ambiguous. Because we don't see them alive at the moment, but they are not confirmed dead. So it's unknown. It's unknown until we get actual confirmation. You can send a Kainu after Boa. He only lusts over absolute justice. That man adores absolute justice. He adores it. He worships it. It's like SpongeBob kneeling in front of a poster of a Krabby Patty and then licking the side of it. That's how he is to justice. He's like, absolute justice, absolute justice. Just licking the side of a poster of absolute justice. That's the worst person to send after Boa because he would absolutely destroy the island. given his, Logia nature, he would burn Amazon Lily to the ground just to get her. And quite a few Amazonians as well. This man has no qualms about smothering people and burning people to death in lava. He did it to even one of his own Marines when one of them wanted to run home and be with his wife. Dude said, like, a Marine who doesn't want to fight is no use at all, and literally just killed him on the spot. So yeah, Kainu would probably be the worst person to send anywhere, because he would just leave a smoldering, burning husk behind him. Still waiting for Shanks versus Blackbeard. Been teased at Marineford. Even back then, when Shanks had one arm, Blackbeard was all like, yeah, I'm not ready to square off with you yet. That's how much of a threat Shanks is. Unless the Gorosei decide to disrespect Sakazuki's authority, which they've done multiple times, because they don't respect him. I mean, the fact that they don't keep him informed about changes that they make shows that how very little they respect the Kainu, especially as Fleet Admiral. I feel like they were far more partial to Sengoku as they are to a Kainu. The only reason why they opponed a Kainu in the first place was because he was so adamant about his absolute hate for pirates and how far he was willing to go to see them completely eradicated whenever given the chance. That's the only reason why he won out over Aokiji becoming the new Fleet Admiral. Aokiji was the more benevolent of the two, but the Gorosei were more willing to go with the Kainu due to his extreme nature. But at the same time, given how much they like his penchant for wanting to kill pirates and whatever it takes in order to keep the world government in power, they don't respect him at all. He is only their own personal figurehead for the Marines. But as long as he does what they say, that's all that matters. They don't need his respect. They don't have to give him respect either. Because, I mean, they don't want to. Just hoping that soon we find out what happened to Zoro's eye. Yes, we do need to find out what happened to his eye. Why is it closed? You'd think that if something was wrong with his eye, he'd have an eye patch over it. Like, if it was gone, he'd have an eye patch over it. But no, he's just keeping it closed this entire time. Why is it closed? What happened during your training with Mihawk for your eye to be closed right now? And that's a small mystery. That's just a small mystery. There's just so many things about One Piece we could literally be here all day talking about. We could be here all day talking about... I need to charge up my controller because I still need to play that Sifu update later today after I get my food from the family, my lunch from the family. I'm gonna mess around in that new Sifu update that dropped today because they got a lot of cool things in there and I want to check it out. But there's even small mysteries that we haven't gotten around to seeing quite yet. Like, he's hiding the king of... Yeah, he has to be. But then again, if he was, how come his eye didn't open up when he used his King of Hell style when he was going up against King? It's just small mysteries that I really hope Oda touches on in these later chapters. Going into September, September, October, November, December. There are literally, after today, and not counting September, there's 4 months left in 2022. How many new things are we going to learn before we get to December 31st? I'm just wondering, how many things are we going to learn? I'm hype. Make a guess. When will we see rocks? I don't know if we'll ever see rocks. We'll get like maybe a flashback to the Roxas crew. But I don't think, like, I have to agree with Karma here. I feel like it's too soon for us to learn some new stuff about rocks. Maybe next year or maybe going into next year. Chopper is being labeled a Yonko commander but only given a 1,000 berry bounty. If the Marines actually think Chopper is a pet, does that mean they think a pet is a commander? Well, they don't exactly label him as a commander either. He's seen as an officer. Officers are different than commanders. officers have different titles given to them. In matter of fact, there was a post made by Artur of Library of Ohara that touches on this, because a lot of people seem to think that an officer, a senior officer, and a commander are the same thing. So let me pull up this. He made a post about this. Let me see if I can find it. It was pretty recent, too. Where is it? Okay, a clarification, since a lot of people seem to be confused. In the Japanese version of the Straw Hats are called the 9 Great Officers, not 9 Commanders. Commanders are the top elite of a crew, usually around 3 or 4. Officers refer to the more relevant members. So that's what that means. Rock's Pirates deserve their own movie. Every One Piece fan would watch that. I mean, a lot of us are looking forward to Film Red because Shanks is in it. So imagine how many people would lose their minds if we get a film or even a whole section of a story dedicated to Rocks. Because right here in this in one image that he's showing here, it says the commanders, and it shows Cracker, Smoothie, and Katakuri, and then it switches over to the officers of Shanks, where it has Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, Yasop, Lime Juice, Bonk Punch, Monster, Building, Snake, Hongo, Howling Gab, and Rockstar. Now, Rockstar may be strong, but he doesn't have the title of officer. But yeah, it's officers in English. And I think it's just to match Blackbeard. And one person says, I think it's just to match Blackbeard's 10 Titanic captains. Oda said Eye Patch is Ultimate Pirate's signature, so not a single character has got one until now. He said someone will get it at the end, likely Luffy, maybe. Shanks probably has more screen time in Film Red than he does in 25 years of One Piece. I mean, you're not wrong. Because these recent episodes of One Piece where it was focused on Uta, and I know nothing about One Piece Film Red because I want to watch it in theaters myself. These recent episodes of One Piece has been the most we've seen Shanks in a single setting than the entirety of One Piece. These 3 episodes of Luffy as a child, with Uta included, has been the most we have ever seen Shanks in the entirety of One Piece at all. Because even when him doing the flashback of when Shanks first showed up, that's more screen time from Shanks than Shanks even first appeared in the beginning of the series. That's why Zoro doesn't have an eye patch. Ultimate pirate signature, so not a single character has got one until now. Says someone will get it by the end. That's why Zoro doesn't have an eye patch. I see. But we have to be patient and wait. As this discussion reaches 2 hours, I just have to say, we are in far uncharted territory, literal uncharted territory for everything that has to do with One Piece. We have no idea where we're about to go. A lot of theories are up in the air, but even those theories, are just theories until we get where we are officially going next. If we go to Elbaf, awesome. If we go to Sphinx, awesome. If we go anywhere else in One Piece, awesome, because at least we'll know something. But as of right now, we are left blind in the water. I know I'm making a lot of sea-based puns right now, but we are completely blind in the water right now, which I think is a good thing, because for a long time, we've made up theories based off of where we are, and now we have no idea where we are. So all we can basically do is just grasp at straws with theories on where we could possibly go because it sounds nice. But we gotta wait. We gotta wait to see where Oda's gonna go next. The eye patch character should be someone new. I mean, we technically don't have anyone with an eye patch. We don't. We got people who have stuff covering their eyes, but not an actual trademark eye patch. Matter of fact, if I were to look up the word eye patch in the whole One Piece wiki, I imagine I wouldn't find a single word or match of the word eye patch. And Sugar's little eye thing, that doesn't count as an eye patch because it's still like a little monocle. It's a monocle. So when I look up the word eye patch, absolutely no articles come up with eye patch in there except for Sugar. But it just says her monocle is shaped like an eye patch. But when it comes to an official capacity eye patch, no one has it in the entire series. Eye patch doesn't even come up except for Sugar's monocle description and what it looks like. No one has a real eye patch in all of One Piece at all. Do you think we'll ever see a Prime Luffy? I feel like we could. Because I feel like, here's the thing though, we're just now getting introduced to Gear 5. This is a brand new gear for Luffy, which means at some point he's going to have to master it. And then we're going to see the fullest extent of Luffy's ability. Because I don't think, even when he first used it against Kaido, that's not the fullest extent of Gear 5 at all. That's just him using it for the very first time. And sure, it has very wide applications, but we have not seen the extent of those applications. The man is able to rubberize lightning and use it as a weapon, swing around and operate in a cartoon-like manner, defying every laws of physics. But that's just him using the power for the very first time. It's unrefined. It's not mastered. It's not honed. So by the time we get to the end of One Piece, I wouldn't be surprised if Luffy has fully mastered Gear 5 and we get to see just a full extent of it. And by that time, I would count that as Prime Luffy. Because think about it. How much farther can power in One Piece actually go? We have seen so much extensive views of Haki, observation, armament, and now conquerors. We've seen such an extensive, long description and in-depth view of these different powers. How much further can you go from this? How much bigger can you go from this? What is greater for Haki than what we've seen thus far? I believe Shanks was an example. Being able to project his Haki all the way from outside of an entire country. So I believe that Shanks basically just teased that Haki can be used at a further distance than just outside of the body. But it can be used way out there. Seen people saying Luffy can beat Naruto. What's my opinion? I don't think Luffy has a chance. Naruto and One Piece are very different in power levels. It's the same as people saying, like, can Goku beat Superman? But those two individuals come from entire different worlds where powers are on a whole nother scale. Like Superman in the comics is capable of moving entire planets from his own strength. Goku is, well, I don't know where Goku is in Dragon Ball Super right now because I haven't been keeping up with the volumes and I haven't started that series yet. So I don't know to what extent Goku is right now. But trying to put power scaling of two characters from two completely different series where power is on two completely different levels, it's kind of redundant. So putting Luffy up against a person who is able to basically, it's kind of redundant as well. Because in the world of One Piece, sure, you have incredibly strong people. But you don't have people who can bend time and space to the extent of, I don't know, Kaguya Otsutsuki, or any member of the Otsutsuki clan. Or able to get to the same level as Madara was when he became the Ten Tails Jinchuriki and became Sage of Six Paths Madara. And he was able to do basically what a handful of people could do in One Piece by himself. They were able to operate on a physical, metaphysical, and spiritual plane, literally on a different plane of existence from normal people. Pairing those types of individuals, where people have slowly become planet busters in Naruto, to people who have shown, peaks amounts of power, but not enough to become planet busters. Like I said, redundant to put Naruto up against Luffy. So I can't really give my opinion on that because they function on two fundamentally different power levels. I will say that people in Naruto tend to do a lot of things that a lot of people in One Piece can't possibly do. Naruto's peak is higher, but the average One Piece character is stronger. I mean, the top tiers of the Naruto verse are planet to solar system levels, yet One Piece biggest feats are small country level. Exactly. You have people that can threaten countries in One Piece, and that's the extent that we've seen. But then you got people that operate on the ability to destroy entire planets or destroy entire continents on their own in the world of One Piece. You're starting Super? When? Will it be? It will be fun. I eventually will start Super, because I made a promise that I would start Super. I just need to figure out a good day to be able to do that in line with everything else that I'm doing right now. Because I don't want to just, it's not that it will make it tiring for me, but I just want it to be comfortable for everyone else when I start. Because I've been hearing there's a lot of things happening in Dragon Ball Super, but Gajil has not told me anything about the specifics, so I want to be able to find out on my own. But at some point, I will be starting Dragon Ball Super, and maybe someday soon you'll be able to get my Lord Frieza voice. I cannot wait to see what I feel like. I cannot wait to see what my voice will be like when I'm talking about those filthy Saiyan. How are we supposed to run an empire that strikes fear across the galaxy when we're cowering away from a handful of Saiyan garbage? I can't wait to start Dragon Ball Super. It's going to be fun. But pitting powers between Naruto and One Piece, kind of redundant, so I can't really give an answer because some characters would just one-shot everyone on Luffy's crew. Madara himself would be able to just do that. Sengoku said that the Whitebeard has a power to destroy the world. However, you haven't seen him do anything that actually puts him on that level. The thing is, Grant, his power has the to destroy the world. But Whitebeard, it's because when it comes to the Gura no Mi, it's incredibly destructive, but it's also indiscriminate. And even when Whitebeard was using his powers, it was only in his immediate vicinity. When Blackbeard got access to that power, he was just using it indiscriminately, where it can be felt across the world. Frieza would call the Saiyans monkeys, not Saiyans. But he has said it, though. He had said Saiyan before. That's an actual line from Dragon Ball Super, so... Whitebeard shifted a whole island with no effort. Prime Whitebeard could definitely do some damage. I mean, from the clash of Roger and Whitebeard alone, you could feel the exert of their haki emanate and devastate the entire island that they were on, and even cause the waves and the resounding waves on the outside to be felt. Even when he was arguing back and forth with Roger, saying like Roger wanted Odin on his crew, he shifted the whole island in anger due to that request. You need to rewatch Super, it's been too long. Yes, it's the line he says to Sorbet when Tagoma questions why Frieza is so focused on coming, because this is directly after Frieza got fully regenerated. This is after Sorbet questions whether it should be good enough to, where it isn't enough to, why would you want to go after the Saiyans? Shouldn't you just focus on strengthening the troops? And then Frieza shot him and said, like, did you really compare this insignificant nothing to Zarbon and Dodoria? Is this a joke? But that's actually a line he says. You just thought about it? How was it voicing Bartholomew Kuma for the first time? It was something. Like, Bartholomew Kuma always had this calm voice, never talking out of turn or ever saying anything in anger. So, actually voicing Bartholomew Kuma for the first time, it was... I've always liked Bartholomew Kuma. The calm, quiet dude who's also ridiculously strong, but he's not boastful in any way. It was nice. It really was nice voicing Bartholomew Kuma for the first time, actually. Yeah, it's actually been the first time since I voiced Bartholomew Kuma, so it was nice voicing him. But, it's amazing. It's amazing how far we've come into One Piece, and I still feel like we are such a long ways off from ever seeing its end. Like, the way I have my books set up, I got even more volumes. I need to get the rest of the ones I'm missing from offline, from online, because they don't have the volumes I'm looking for in store. But I've already filled up 2 entire rows on my bookshelf full of nothing but One Piece, just 2 whole rows, and that doesn't include all the volumes that I'm missing. So as soon as I get that, Thor's Mjolnir and the Infinity Gauntlet, they're gonna have to go. The point you was trying to make earlier is that everyone is overestimating Luffy's power by comparing him to characters from other series who can easily destroy planets. Luffy's strong, but he can only do so much. He's not the strongest in the series. Can I just say that? He's not. He's strong. Someone sending me messages. What the heck? Luffy is strong, but he's not one of the strongest in the series. Because think about it. How do you go bigger than Kaido? Kaido was the strongest person we've seen in the series thus far after Whitebeard. How do you go bigger than him? How do you make Luffy get stronger? Because that's the only way that his haki can get stronger, is by fighting stronger opponents one after the other. This was told to us by Grandpa Hyo and Rayleigh. That is how haki gets stronger. So who do you have after Kaido that Luffy can test his skills against for him to go even bigger? Because you can't make Kaido the limit, because then that will stagnate Luffy. When your life is in danger, that's when your haki and that's when your Ryuo can enhance. That's when it can get stronger. Luffy, someone stronger than Kaido has to come along. So I say that now because Luffy is not the strongest right now. Kaido is the strongest opponent he's ever faced, but that doesn't mean Kaido's is the strongest, period. I said he's the strongest we've seen in the series thus far, but Kaido is the strongest person we've seen in the series thus far, but does that make him the strongest? He's called the strongest creature in the world. But who knows? Luffy just beat him. So what bigger threat is going to come to Luffy to make him go even harder than he has ever done before? That's the question. How do you trump Kaido? What opponent is more threatening than Kaido? We don't even know all of the disgusting things Gear 5 can do. Luffy's not even in his prime yet, while Naruto is. Of course, there's someone stronger than Kaido. It's obviously Buggy. You're right, Grant. What was I thinking? Buggy D God. Buggy D Clown. Buggy D King. I forgot my manners. Buggy-sama. Buggy D Fraud. But seriously, though. We got to think about it. And I know I keep repeating myself time to time. It's a verbal tick. My apologies. But it's just something to think about. How do you go even bigger than Kaido in scope of what he's done to make Luffy grow stronger? Because had it not been for Kaido, Luffy never would have learned about Conqueror's Haki emission. He never would have learned how to refine his Haki to that point so he can hit people using Conqueror's Haki. He never would have learned to refine his future sight while fighting someone who's faster than his future sight, like Kaido. He never would have refined it to where it is right now without being in this life or death battle. So now, he has to go through more of them in order for him to become stronger so that he never loses to anyone. Luffy's not there yet. I mean, Blackbeard is obviously the final villain. Yes, which means that Blackbeard is going to have to be at some point so strong that Luffy's going to have to take everything he takes from this upcoming arc going forward and everything he's learned and refine it to a point where he is able to fight Blackbeard equally. Because when you think about it, only Haki can, in fact, transcend all. Because when you're fighting an individual who can nullify your devil fruit powers, which in turn can nullify his ability to use Gear 5 at all, you need Haki to back up. You need Haki as a backup on. So I'm just thinking to myself, Luffy's going to have to learn how to use his Haki more than his Devil Fruit power. Not saying that he shouldn't rely on it entirely because Gear 5 is in fact powerful, but when it comes to an individual that can basically nullify his powers by touch, he's going to have to be ready to rely solely on Haki itself if he's going to combat him. What if Blackbeard could mix his two fruits? Like, imagine he could coat the tremor fruit in darkness, nullifying every fruit ability that gets hit, even from afar. They kind of did something like that in Pirate Warriors 4, where Blackbeard had people raise them up in the air with his darkness, and then use the tremor to hit those people in that darkness and cause it to explode. That's like a combination attack right there, and that's kind of reminds me of it. Remember, it was Blackbeard who scared Shanks, and Shanks said he wasn't being careless, so Blackbeard, even before his Devil Fruit, was strong. Exactly. Everyone was wary about Blackbeard before the events of Marine 4, before the events of Banero Island when he fought Ace. Everyone was wary of him. Blackbeard is dangerous. Basically, forcing the opponent to defeat him with hockey only. He needs Shanks to help him with his hockey and get Wi-Fi hockey. Ravi using all my little emojis down there at the bottom. Basically, forcing the opponent to defeat him with hockey only. That's the thing. Kaido has been right this whole time. Only hockey can truly transcend all. Because when it comes to the Yami Yami no Mi, it can nullify Devil Fruit powers, but it can't nullify hockey. And that's going to be Blackbeard's downfall. That's how I feel about it. But if he could mix his powers together, that would be a devastating combination. Hiding tremors inside darkness you can send out across an entire ground, or just make the whole area explode from the tremors itself. That's a horrible combination. And here's the thing about Blackbeard. We don't know if 2 powers is his limit. No, not like that. Basically, I'm having the strength of the tremor fruit while also having the nullifying abilities of his darkness fruit. So you're basically just saying, oh, I get it. So whenever he's using his Quake powers, anyone hit by it also gets the nullification effect of the Yami Yami no Mi. I get you now. Having the nullifying ability of his darkness fruit in one. Imagine Blackbeard doesn't have Conqueror's Haki. Imagine! And he's just tanking everything. Like, the dude has incredible durability. Because he was able to survive being almost cleaved in 2 by Whitebeard across the chest. He survived that. So, Blackbeard's ability to survive is amongst some of the highest throughout the entire series. But it remains to be seen whether he's actually increased, because he's increased his power and he's refined it a little bit, so it's not indiscriminate anymore. He can cause tremors, but not enough to cause it to cause casualties and damage throughout the island. Like, he can cause tremors throughout Beehive's island full of lead, but not cause any lasting damage. So he's refined it a little bit, but we don't know to what extent. We haven't seen Blackbeard fight since Marine 4. He has 2 powers now, and we have yet to see him do any fighting whatsoever. He's been showing off his power, but we haven't seen him fight anyone at all since. Akainu fought Old Sick and injured Whitebeard and was barely above him in power, yet Garp and Sengoku fought Prime Whitebeard and Roger. And did the Marines get weaker over the past 30 years? I feel like their reliance on Garp and the Admirals is what stagnated a lot of the Marines. Sure, you have some monsters in the Marines, such as Kizaru, and Fujitora, and Ryokugyu, and Garp, and Sengoku, but you just got them. Then you have everyone underneath them. Sure, they're strong, but they're not combat Whitebeard with only one other person with them strong. They've grown complacent with the people they've had in power that they haven't tried to have anyone try and match them in power at all for the Marines. Not only that, but they also got kind of lazy when they had the warlords under their employ in order to keep the pirates in line. Now, with the warlords no longer being there, more is expected of them as Marines in order to keep the peace within the world. So I feel like when Garp was named the hero of the Marines, and everyone else had like high positions, such as the admirals and everybody, everyone else kind of got complacent with where the power gap was sitting. But even the current admirals aren't at the level Prime Garp and Sengoku were at. That's the thing, Grant. They've grown complacent. They have Garp there. They have Garp there. They have Sengoku there. But they've grown complacent with just having those people on their team that they haven't tried to use them as an example for other Marines to strive towards. You see this man, hero of the Marines? Be like him. Get as strong as him. No one was ever pressured into being that way. We got Kobe, who's been trained by Garp, and you can see that progress. Helmeppo, I don't know what he did, but I don't know what he was doing when he was being trained by Garp, but his strength is not the same as Kobe's. Kobe's level is on a league different than Helmeppo's, following Garp. Yet no other Marine decided to follow the hero of the Marines to become even stronger or bolster up their ranks. No one ever thought of that at all. That's that type of complacency that has them in a position like, as Ogata-san says, that's why they panic when a Yonko meets another. If they had forced and set Garp as the shining example of what they expect Marines to reach to, they wouldn't be this intimidated by Yonkos meeting each other. They just send over their squadron of Garp lookalikes and then go over there and squash it. But no, they've grown complacent, they've grown lazy, and have allowed those who have had power to just chill and do whatever they want. And never setting a standard in order to combat the growing threat of pirates. Sure, they got new admirals. They got Fujitora. They got Ryokugyu. But they haven't set any standards that they want their little underlings underneath them to stand by. The new generation got weaker too, though, so I think the Marines getting weaker isn't that bad. The new generation of pirates? I mean, in comparison to how strong the previous pirates have been, yeah, one could say that they look weaker, but that's also because they're younger. They have a lot of power, they just haven't refined it to the prime levels of previous pirates from the last age of piracy. So it may seem weak right now, but that's because they lack experience. Do you think Garp could have killed Akainu in Marineford if Sengoku didn't stop him? I've seen conflicting guesses. Yes, I do in fact believe he could have. Knock one more time. I didn't hear that last one. Come here. Who that be? Sister, you bring me my lunch. All right, back to it. Should make you some new emotes. You're an animator, graphic artist if you want. Ooh, I had no idea, Ravi. Oda desperately needs to involve more hockey and fighting. If your name is not Luffy, you're not using hockey. But going back to Grant's question, I really do think Garp could have killed Akainu in Marineford if Sengoku didn't stop him. Because he's just that strong. A person who was able to fight on par with Roger, not once but multiple times, just with raw strength and hockey alone. I'd imagine he'd have no trouble killing Akainu. Even Akainu, who's a Logia user, that would make it very difficult for anyone to touch him, wouldn't be surprised if he was able to just straight up kill Akainu. I wouldn't be surprised. Garp is ridiculously strong. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see more fights that are more stemmed into hockey itself. I feel like even after all the things that we've seen of hockey, we have not seen the fullest extent of hockey at all. We have not seen the fullest extent of hockey at all. We've seen another example of hockey being able to reach far off distances, but we have not seen the fullest extent. Matter of fact, we don't even know where hockey originates from. Wouldn't that be wild if we find out the origin of hockey? The same way we find out the origin of devil fruits. Due to just how massive how many massive boosts they give to people here in the world. Wouldn't it be crazy if we learned where hockey originated and how it came to be? And how only a select few people have conquerors, and then find out where devil fruits came from, how they work, and how inanimate objects are able to use and eat devil fruits. I figure those are going to be some of the biggest mysteries that we learn about. But we just got to wait to see where Oda goes with these chapters as a whole. So back to the chapters I reacted to. I thought they were all good. For the chapters that pretty much squashed every hope and dream of Carrot and Yamato ever joining the crew, I felt absolutely nothing about it because I was like either or when it comes to them joining the crew whatsoever. When you learn more about hockey, I often wonder how the admirals weren't killed at Marineford getting stabbed by characters who can coat their weapons in hockey, yet they were treated like normal Logia. That's the thing. Out of the entire series, there have been people that can, use... There are Logia users that do their best to try and avoid getting hit by people who can use hockey. Thus far, the only Logia user that has ever survived getting hit in a Logia state and just remarking how people who are using hockey are annoying and it did no lasting damage against him was Akainu. All right, Ravi, hope you enjoyed yourself while you're here, because I'm about to end this stream myself in a couple of minutes because I got food right here and I need to eat it. And we got some seafood to play a little later. Something was on my eye. I don't know what that was. The only person who has managed to resist people using hockey against them in their Logia state was Akainu. Because when Vista and Marco use hockey in their attacks against him, he remarked that hockey users are very annoying. People who use hockey are annoying to fight, but it didn't do anything lasting. It didn't do any lasting damage to him. Whereas when we seen later during the time skip, when Smoker's going up against Doflamingo, Doflamingo uses hockey in his strings and it cuts Smoker in his smoke state, which causes Smoker to lose that fight between himself and Doflamingo. But back in Marineford, when Marco and Vista use hockey on Akainu in his Logia state, he just remarked like using hockey users annoy me. So somehow Akainu has learned how to resist the effects of Logia on his body. Hold on. So somehow Akainu has learned how to resist hockey in his Logia state. And do the devil fruits have any connection to the letter D? That's the thing. There's so many mysteries about One Piece that we don't know. Like I said, we could be here for hours just talking about everything One Piece and how they all connect together and how they piece together. But I feel like even with all the things we've known, Whitebeard stabbed Aokiji and cut Kizaru in half with his staff, affecting both of them, but not killing them somehow. Because here's the thing. People like to say that Whitebeard stabbed Aokiji, but it also says that Aokiji opened up a hole in the middle of his body in order to keep himself from actually getting hit by Whitebeard. I don't know who you are. Why are you calling me? From California? I don't know anyone from California. Get off of my phone. But yes, Whitebeard stabbed Aokiji, but not in a way for Aokiji to actually die. Because it says that Aokiji opened up a hole in his chest in order to keep from getting hit. And Kizaru... And cut Kizaru in half with his staff, affecting both of them. But it never did say that Whitebeard was using hockey against Kizaru. It stated that Vista and Marco use hockey against Kainu, but it never was stated that he was using haki against Aokiji and Kizaru during the Marineford arc. That's the thing. Vegapunk's got to be in an arc that will be full of revelations about revelations, including devil fruits, probably. Oh, the moment we meet Vegapunk and find out just how smart he is, that's when we're going to learn a ton of scientific things. Like, if I were to go here, real quick. If I were to go here to Kuzan, and then go to the Hiei no Mi, and go to the capabilities. Right here, it's also apparent. Stop moving. It's also apparent that the user can control the ice in his body to mold it and change its shape, as seen when Kuzan formed a hole in his chest before Whitebeard stabbed through Kuzan with his Pacento, allowing Kuzan to avoid contact with a haki-infused weapon. So he did, in fact, make a hole in his body in order to avoid getting stabbed by Whitebeard. So actually, Whitebeard was using haki with that. And when it came to Kizaru, well, the dude can move as fast as light, so it's no surprise he did that. But Kizaru was in his light state about to attack Luffy, and he cut him with his staff. If he wasn't using haki, it wouldn't have stopped Kizaru at all, and he would have killed Luffy. So, let's bring up Kizaru. Boru Serino. Okay, so Whitebeard. Let me go down here. Whitebeard Pirates. I want to make sure that I get this information right because I don't want to give you guys any misinformation about Kizaru himself. So, Aokiji, we know he saved himself from getting stabbed by making a hole in his chest, but Kizaru, yeah, you're right. I do remember him getting hit by Whitebeard, but if he was using haki, he wouldn't have transformed in that state in order to get away. Let's see. Physical capabilities. Swordsmanship, haki. Whitebeard Pirates. I want to be specific here. Okay, let's see. Go and capture Luffy. Recovered. Luffy managed to stop Ace's execution. Luffy got closer to the execution platform and Kizaru tried to go to him, but he was stopped by Whitebeard. However, Kizaru shot Whitebeard through the chest before destroying Luffy's key to Ace's handcuffs. Although Luffy ultimately succeeded in rescuing Ace, the latter was killed by Kainu, and the Blackbeard pirates arrived to kill Whitebeard and take his power. So I believe... Can't wait for the day that Oda tells us that Kizaru is the strongest marine at the moment. When you think about it, Kizaru is the scariest. Because this dude doesn't do things to intimidate people. His very presence intimidates people. This dude chooses not to go full throttle because his basic minimum effort is enough to just body most people. Hate that even though One Piece is a shonen, their fights aren't the main aspect. One Piece has so many cool characters with awesome powers that I need to see in a detailed fight. Can you imagine the animators of Demon Slayer giving us full-on fights against these characters? Can you imagine Kizaru versus Rayleigh, but with the animation style and fluidity of Demon Slayer? I'm gonna have to look at that fight between Kizaru and Whitebeard again. Like that whole Marineford section. So I can see... If Whitebeard wasn't using haki, it wouldn't have affected Kizaru from getting to him. But if he was using haki, then that wouldn't explain why he was able to get away from Whitebeard and then reform. Something to think about. I mean, if you rewatch the series and you see all these powerful characters early on who should have haki and yet don't or never use it against Luffy, When you think, well, my thing about that, Grant, is that's back when Oda didn't fully have the idea of haki fully thought out. So even though we know haki exists now, Oda really didn't have it fully fleshed out as he does right now in One Piece. To be an admiral of any level, including rear admiral, you need haki, yet Diaz Drake couldn't beat a pacifista even with haki. Like I said, the concept of haki itself was never fully fleshed out until we got into the second half of the time into the time skip, because Oda hadn't fully fleshed it out as he did right now. So what concepts we know of right now, I mean, we could apply it back then, but then it would start to conflict and make plot holes because of that. There have been hints about haki since Chapter 1. Yes, there has. But it hasn't been fully fleshed out for us to fully understand it until right now. When all the admirals used their combined haki to shield Whitebeard's shockwave from hitting them, we didn't know that this was haki at mission. We just know that they use haki, but not to what extent. So, back now that we see haki coming across and coating over people's arms darkly now, that's because Oda really didn't, and I'm not making excuses for him, but Oda didn't really flesh it out as much as he has in this instance. Yes, haki existed way back then, but we didn't know how far the extent would go. Neither did Oda have it fleshed out in order for it to be fully explained in the chapters and episodes themselves. That's the thing. Because if you think about haki now and compare it to how people may have used it prior, then it'll just open up plot holes. Well, if Shanks was able to use all types of haki, how come he didn't haki up his arm in order to keep it from getting taken? If Whitebeard was able to use, if we were able to see them use haki, or the animals were able to use haki, how come they didn't haki up their arms to brace themselves against people who could use haki during the Marineford War? It would just open up a whole can of worms of plot holes, due to Oda not having fully explained it back then because he wasn't ready to. Because if you think about haki and its applications, it would just make things more complicated lore-wise and character-wise if you try to apply what we know now to characters that didn't fully explain behind back then. And I know that's like a little bit of a rough explanation, but it would just open up more plot holes, I feel. It would open up plot holes general. When you think about it, Drake probably could have beaten the pacifista, but there was a literal admiral nearby ready to fold him at any moment. Yeah, that's one way to keep yourself distracted. Sure, you got pacifistas, but you also got a man who can move at the speed of light in your immediate vicinity. Never liked that they made haki visible. It's supposed to be invisible. I mean, according to who? Is it supposed to be invisible because you would prefer it would be invisible? Or it's supposed to be invisible because Oda says it should be invisible? Because if you're leaning towards whether you like it to be invisible, that's about as far as that can go. If Oda wants it to be visible, that's fine. But for me, I don't mind it being visible, because it's a better way of showing off haki in ways that we couldn't see it before, nor did Oda back then have a way of showing off haki in a way that made sense. Never liked that they made haki visible. It's supposed to be invisible. Rayleigh said it. Yes, he did say it, but he didn't say that invisible was the only way it could appear in. Keeping haki invisible would have been stupid if we're being honest, but like I'm saying, Rayleigh did say, like, yeah, you can use haki as almost invisible armor, but he never said it could only be invisible. It's open-ended. Unless Rayleigh said that it can't be, you can't make it materialize. I mean, I get why they did it. It's just weird that it changed. I know, it's weird for everyone. It really is. It took some getting used to be quite honest. Haki that you couldn't see, that was just willpower over your body. I feel like Oda changed it in order for it to be a physical manifestation of willpower. That's the reason why when haki appears on people, it is literally their willpower manifesting on their body to see. So I understand why Oda decided to go that route, so you can visibly see the haki on people as they use it, even though he could keep it invisible. But yeah, it really did take some getting used to. But I'm fine. Me personally, I think it makes sense for you to be able to see the hockey, because how many moments could people be getting knocked around and then it gets explained that hockey, like say for instance, Luffy gets knocked back into a wall, and if we were at the previous way where hockey was, you couldn't see it at all, and then we come to find out like, oh, Luffy was using hockey. How can you tell? Don't know. Can't see it. How many Straw Hats will have hockey by the end of the series? If Nico Robin gets armament hockey, she's gonna be deadly. You still don't understand Ryuo? I mean, it's essentially hockey, but Ryuo is no different than armament hockey. They call it hockey outside of Wano, but it's called Ryuo in Wano. Ryuo is hockey, just given a different name. It is no different than hockey outside of Wano. There really is no difference between it. It's just called differently. It's called differently and applied differently in Wano. I think they need hockey if they're going to fight the Blackbeard pirates. Oh, they are. But if going back to Grand, if Nico Robin ever got access to armament hockey, she would be beyond deadly. Like the ability to sprout out limbs everywhere with armament hockey, and you're just pummeling on someone. That combination alone makes her overpowered. Speaking of Straw Hats and hockey, Usopp has had hockey since Dressrosa, and he hasn't used it once. That's a good 7 years, give or take. See, Karma, like Rayleigh said, people who have hockey sometimes realize that they don't even have it. Surely Robin has known about hockey longer than anyone on the crew. She's so knowledgeable about things the others don't know, and she worked for an evil group for a long term. I wouldn't be surprised if she's able to use some form of hockey, but chooses not to. The Blackbeard pirates are going to get nerfed just so the Straw Hats can fight them. We don't even know the fullest extent of the strength of the Blackbeard pirates, so it would be uncalled for to nerf them if we don't even know what needs to be nerfed on them to begin with. I wish Usopp versus Page 1 was like Uryu versus Yami, with Usopp sending Page 1 falling off of Onigashima. Robin should be a god now. She was chilling with the revolutionaries. I mean, given how strong Sabo is, in line with him being with the revolutionaries, to the point where he's able to fight evenly with an admiral, I'd imagine Robin is strong. She's just rarely been up against an opponent that requires her to use the fullest extent of her Hana Hana no Mi. I mean, her Demonio Fleur was the first time we've ever seen that attack, and it was against someone who was quite possibly one of the strongest opponents she's ever faced. But Robin, I think she really hasn't been pushed to a point where she needs to use that power on a consistent basis in order for her to be like seen as like god tier in terms of strength. It's her trump card, and it drains her considerably, like makes her incredibly tired to the point where Brook had to carry her for the rest of Onigashima until they got out. But if Robin was to learn armament hockey, I fear for literally everyone. But who knows? Who knows how many more of the Straw Hats will end up with hockey at the end of the series? Because we already know that Luffy and Zoro, they have Conquerors, and they're able to use all forms. They're actually able to use, Luffy and Zoro are able to use all forms, all three types of hockey. Underneath, we have Sanji, who is able to use armament and observation. We have Jinbei, who I'm assuming has observation and armament. We have Usopp, who has observation, but isn't quite aware that he has observation. And then you have everyone else underneath, who we haven't seen use hockey at all. So happy Robin got to fight Black Maria. First big fight she's had since Skypiea. Even then, it was a low-level Skypiea villain. Yes, Black Maria was the greatest test for Robin in One Piece. Like, sure, she had her own fight, but Black Maria was the only one to push her to the absolute brink where she had to break out a brand new move. Not only a brand new move, but also some fishman karate she learned while she was with the revolutionaries as well. So on top of that, think about this. Robin knows how to use fishman karate in conjunction with her own fruit abilities. Mix that with conquerors. I mean, not conquerors, but mix that with armament. And she probably doesn't even need to touch anyone, Because Fishman Karate can do exactly what Jinbei does, using the water droplets in the air to send shockwaves towards an opponent in order to physically hurt them. Robin can do Fishman Karate, thanks to Hack. So imagine her employing more Fishman Karate in her moves. Because when you think about it, Robin never punches with her devil fruit powers. She always slaps people with it, or stomps them, but she never outright punches anyone. She usually resolves to breaking bones or slapping them with giant fists or with giant hands or multiple hands, but she has never punched anyone. Think about it. She's never punched anyone. She slapped people, but never punched them. There's a lot of things to think about. You realize I've been streaming for nearly 3 hours, right? Yes, I have. Given the fact that I had a stream that was 9 hours of me going through the entire Zoe saga, Zoe, Whole Cake Island, well, Dressrosa, no, Punk, no. Zoe, Whole Cake Island, Reverie, and Wano saga, 3 hours is nothing. Thinking Robin's gonna fight Katarina Devon? Would be interesting. Usopp paired up against Van Augur. We have Jinbei matched up against Jesus Burgess, since they're the physical powerhouses. Shiryu of the Rain versus Zoro. Who would Sanwan Wolf go up against? Because he has a devil fruit that allows him to grow to monstrous size. But who would he fight against? Chopper? The largest... that actually is a good pair-up. The largest member of Blackbeard's crew versus the smallest member of the Straw Hat crew. I'm making up bad pairings. I'm making up very bad pairings. I'm sorry. I gotta go ahead and end the stream so my food is still... Food still hot? Yeah, still hot. Alright. I gotta end it here. Jinbei is slapping Burgess. Yeah, let's be honest here. Because Jinbei and Burgess have similar fighting styles, where they have a lot of physical strength, but they both have different ways in which they employ their strengths. So Jinbei employs it with Fishman Karate that uses shockwaves through water to hit people, and Burgess has his Hado elbow style, which allows him to use different types of shockwaves and hit people. And the stream? Oh yeah, I am. I got to eat my food. So it's interesting what pairings up of the Blackbeard Pirates would be like. And I don't have enough time to go through it right now because I have to eat. So all I can say right now is August introduced to us the end of Wano and also the start of a new adventure. Where we go here, I have no idea. What I do know is I'm very much looking forward. Chopper will fight Doc Q on the horse. Oh yeah, I forgot about Doc Q. Never mind, Chopper versus Doctor. That would be a good matchup. That's probably a better matchup. All I know is, going forward into September, I hope we get the start of a brand new saga and the reveal of our next location. It ought to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. But as this stream slowly but surely approaches 3 hours, I'm going to draw it to a close here so that way I can eat my food, and then later we'll play some Sifu and see what this new massive update they created entails. So I'm looking forward to it. As for everything else, I really do and hope you enjoyed this in-depth discussion about One Piece as a whole. And we are definitely going to have plenty of time to talk about One Piece later because, there's just so much of One Piece to talk about that I can't just stuff it all into this one stream. So I'm looking forward to our next talk about One Piece. There are so many potential fights, it's actually impossible to guess what's going to happen next. That's the beauty of One Piece karma that I love so much. It's impossible to know where we're going next, which makes it that much more exciting to look forward to the next chapter. Because we have no direction. So we are left at the mercy of Oda. And I like that. Because that means that the next thing we get is probably going to be a surprise to us. So, that's all I got. All I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. Ah, boy. I could talk about One Piece literally all day, but not now. I'm about to eat.